Good evening, everyone. I welcome you to this June meeting of Oberon Council. The meeting will be live streamed via Teams webinar facilities. Could I ask everyone to turn off their mobile phone, put them on flight mode, silent, please. Recordings of council meetings or parts thereof can be copied, recorded, reproduced, reused, or transmitted without prior written consent of the General Manager. This meeting is being recorded and will be made publicly available on Council's website. Persons attending the meeting should refrain from making any affirmatory statements. Council acknowledges that this meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Wiradjuri, Gundungurra and Darra people, and Council pays respects to the history and culture of the elders, both past and present. Prayer, could I ask Rob Sotomayor to take us through the prayer?
Yeah, sure.
All stand, please.
Actually, a very tempting to preach a message. Now you've got the podium. Okay, let's pray. Dear God, we know that Jesus is Lord over all authority and Lord over all governments and even over councils. And we pray your presence would be here powerfully tonight, exercising your authority. And we know that we all have to give account for all thoughts, words and deeds. And we pray that you give everyone here wisdom and discernment and insight to be able to make great decisions and to really move things forward the way they need to move forward. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to stay, but I've got to run a board meeting too. I'll see you guys. Thank you so much.
Item 4 is record of attendance. I note that all councillors are in attendance and Deputy Mayor Katie Graham has requested to be entitled to attend by audio-visual Teams link. Could I have someone to move a motion that Deputy Mayor Katie Graham be entitled to attend this meeting via Teams? Move it, thank you. Lauren Trembath and second Helen Hayne. All in favour? Thank you. There are no leaves of absence. 5 declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest by councillors?
Nothing.
Correct.
I don't.
Thank you. 6 presentations. Just before we get to presentations, I note that in relation to 10.1, that matter is to be stood over, which was a rescission motion. So I don't know if there's anyone here in relation to that matter in the gallery.
We're here from the Times Plan.
You are here.
Yes.
That matter has been stood over. It was requested. The mover of the motion for rescission has requested that matter be stood over on the 30th of June.
Okay, so there'll be no further discussion.
No.
Okay,
Because
we had been told that.
well, the mover's here. I'll just reconfirm that. That's confirmed. Yes, Rusty. Yes.
Okay. Would it be rude of you to?
No, that's why
Family.
that's why I'm giving you a warning that you don't have to stay because it has been deferred.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
let's speak off then. Thank you.
Presentations, item 6. Could I ask Sean Halen, the General Manager of Destination Centre West, to provide an overview of the activities of Destination Centre West? Thank you, Sean.
Thanks very much. Should have a presentation.
Sorry, who's
Excellent. While that's coming up, look, I'll get started. I won't wait for the screen. So, Sean Allen, General Manager, Destination Central West. I too would like to acknowledge we meet on the lands of traditional owners and pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. I guess the purpose of tonight is really just to give you a bit of an update. Sorry, next slide, thanks. And a bit of an update about Destination Central West and the work that we do. Provide a bit of an overview of the breadth and depth of the visitor economy and what that means in relation to local community. And also talk about how Destination New South Wales and Destination Central West can support Oberon Shire Council and what visitor economy benefits, or how the visitor economy benefits the council. Excellent, thanks. Happy to take questions as we go through, or happy to address questions at the end. It's entirely up to you. So we're for want of a better term, Destination Central West is a regional tourism office funded by Destination New South Wales. We are independent, however. We work to an independent board. The board up there is Chair Jeanette Davey and 4 other skills-based independent directors. Some live within the region and some have assets in the region, such as accommodation, assets, B&B, etc. as myself in the operational team as a full-time employee as general manager. And we have 2 industry development managers that work part-time across the region. So Kate Caddison, who looks after sort of Orange and West, and Renee Darlington is our industry development manager for this part of our region. And we're currently just recruiting for a project and business support person as well. So a very small team, 2.6 full-time equivalents, but working hard across the region from Lithgow to Lake Jellicoe, basically. There's 7 destination there's 7 destination networks in regional New South Wales, all working, as I say, in conjunction with Destination New South Wales. And we're considered the shop front for Destination New South Wales. So the intent is that we bring their programs from the state government to the local area and ensure that the tourism businesses within the region get the maximum benefit of those programs here. We obviously work closely with council and work closely with Debbie and the team here in Oberon. But we also work up the line as well. So we advocate on local visitor economy related issues to the New South Wales government through Destination New South Wales as well. We're responsible at the local level for driving the growth of the visitor economy in conjunction with obviously our local government partners and with industry. We work to a regional destination management plan that's aligned to the state destination visitor economy strategy. It's a local plan that was endorsed by the board on February 2023. It was released by the minister, I should say. And it was the same day that I started in the role. So Destination Central West, which I should have said at the start, is a newish organisation. We were formed in July 2022. The networks, the regional organisations have been around since 2017. And some lobbying through the joint organisation and the councils in this part of the world very successfully to the former Deputy Premier saw the establishment of Destination Central West, breaking away from Country and Outback, which was about 45% of the state, and about 35 LGAs for Central West through to Broken Hill and up to Tamworth. So to have a dedicated destination network for the Central West, I think has been a positive for the region. I guess to be really clear on the things that we do and don't do, we focus very much on the supply side. So working with business to build their capability, and we don't do consumer marketing. So we leave that to Destination New South Wales, but we obviously, and to the locals, but we obviously try and ensure and facilitate that it's aligned to the state brand and working collaboratively. Next slide. Talking a little bit about the breadth and impact of the visitor economy, we use the terminology visitor economy these days, not so much just the tourism sector, because it acknowledges that visitors to our region come for all sorts of reasons, and I'm sure that you would see that here in your shire, particularly with the large commercial operators that you have in the region. There's visitors coming in that are not leisure visitors, but they drive and they have a very important role to play in promoting the visitor, in spending in the visitor economy, supporting local business, staying in local accommodation houses, and that flow-on effect of that, I suppose, is something that should be recognised as well. It's not just the frontline businesses that benefit from the visitor economy, it's also the support businesses and the supply chain that sits in behind that as well. And importantly, things like midweek conferences and events are often good drivers to the visitor economy as well. Talking about the visitor economy, it really is everyone's business. It's all levels of government working together and working with business. So through the Australian government, federal government, things like aviation, migration, skills, bringing in skilled employees, international marketing, and obviously we have quite a smallish international market share in the Central West and in regional New South Wales generally, but there's a huge opportunity to address that and maybe drive some international visitation to the region. And through Austrade, obviously, the federal government working with data and statistics as well. New South Wales government, primarily through Destination New South Wales, is responsible for marketing. However, there is a push to make the visitor economy a whole of government priority for the New South Wales government. I think rather than making Destination New South Wales just the responsible entity, ensuring that it's a front and place for transport, for licensing and for other areas of government as well. Local government, I think local government, I'm sure you all know the role local government has to play, and we think it's a very important role in the visitor economy as well, through placemaking, through events, through running visitor centres and support for the businesses on the ground as well. What makes a great place to live obviously makes a great place to visit. So, upkeep of public facilities and spaces and so forth is very important to the visitor economy as well. But we couldn't do it all, obviously, without the industry. If we don't have businesses opening up and serving the visitors and consumers that come to our region, it makes it very difficult to convert all those people into dollars at the end of the day. So the industry is vitally important, obviously, an important partner in the visitor economy. Next slide, thank you. What's the value, I suppose, of the visitor economy? In New South Wales, it's $53.2 billion. It's a large industry. And we're always very keen to ensure that our friends in the Rocks understand that 50% of it, about $26 billion, comes from regional New South Wales. It's a very important part of the New South Wales visitor economy. We see a lot of Sydney-centric events like Vivid, for example. We would love to see more activity and support. And so we're always lobbying and working with Destination New South Wales to drive programs for regional New South Wales, understanding that it's quite a big contributor. What it looks like is 100 million nights in regional New South Wales, 65.5 million visitors. At the Central West level, that's our region there. You can see the 12 LGAs that we represent. It's just under $2 billion for visitor economy expenditure in the region. Welcome 4.7 million visitors annually. We stay about 6.1 million nights across the region. Next, thank you. We talk about why do people want to visit regional New South Wales? There was some work done recently as part of the new visitor economy strategy review. Good food and wine, which of course we have in this area, so good food and your truffle makers, foragers and so forth. Coastal and aquatic experiences. We don't have a lot of coastal experiences over this side of the range, but we certainly have some great aquatic experiences with inland waterways and so forth. History and heritage, which regional New South Wales and this part of the world has in abundance, and good shopping. For interstate visitors, again, that applies. Most of those themes apply again, but road trips and itineraries are important for interstate visitors as well. So linking up opportunities around the region between the LGAs and so forth is important. And international visitors, as I said before, culturally significant sites and natural wonders, which we have some wonderful natural assets in this part of the world as well. Excellent. Thank you. So what do we do and how do we help and how can businesses in your shire benefit from the work that we do? Destination New South Wales runs what they call the New South Wales First program. It's an industry capability development program. It's free for businesses, and our role is to ensure we get as many businesses into their programs as possible. That's a range of workshops, it's a range of webinars, it's a range of toolkits that's available on their site. Our industry development managers are actively working with Debbie and the team to help your businesses in this region access those programs and grow their capability and ideally expand their market, diversify their offering, and look to increase their market share as the goal. Industry familiarisations, a dedicated Business New South Wales competency unit, and our own Destination Central West led workshops that we operate across the region, of which we've just completed a series of experience development workshops across the region and working with businesses to go from less transactional focused interactions with consumers to more in-depth and experience focused, where they can obviously charge a higher yield or higher price to get a higher yield and manage their inventory a lot better as well. Local government engagement activities like we're doing tonight, obviously, themselves is key for us, ensuring that you understand the work that we do. And also the local government Destination Visitor Economy Conference, which was held a couple of weeks ago in the Tweed. We sponsor a dinner for all the tourism managers across the region that attend those events as well, and ensure there's some good networking away from. We work with the joint organisation very closely, and we facilitate the tourism managers working group of the joint organisation. And then just a couple of things to finish on. I've got a couple more slides. The real opportunity, sorry, next slide, please, is Australian Tourism Data Warehouse. This is a free opportunity for your businesses to list their business on the data warehouse, which distributes out through a number of sites, most importantly for us, visitnewsouthwales.com and some local distributor sites as well. It's a free asset. It's something that we encourage all businesses to take awareness, to take opportunity of, because it drives awareness to what's consumers can see online to understand what the region has to offer before they visit. So the more businesses that are represented online, obviously the greater opportunity density people might have to come and visit the region. We've been working with ATW directly over the last couple of months to drive some workshops for businesses across the region. And little wins that we've had there with is businesses using the deals section of that platform. We had 4 deals, if you like, for the whole of Central West when we benchmarked the start of that program. I think we're up to about 78 now, and that's driving leads the last month of about 196 clicks to industry direct to their website. Next, thank you. So what's the benefits for the visitor economy to your LGA, to your community? Economic growth, obviously. Visitor expenditure within the region stays within the region. Generally, it circulates within the region to other businesses. and it creates employment opportunity for the region as well. That job creation, job opportunities in the visitor economy tend to be low skill. So it's good for youth, it's good for disability sector, it's good for people who might be at the end of their career and looking to sort of slow down in the workforce. Well, it's good for those that have been out of work for a while and might want to get back into the workforce. So there's huge opportunities in the visitor economy for career path progression. It's no longer just a weekend job or something you might do after school. It's a career progression opportunity as well. Community pride, live like a local. You know, our city cousins don't understand what it's like to live in New South Wales. And so the community gets an opportunity to showcase what's great about our regional town. Cultural recognition and celebrating what's great about why we live in regional New South Wales as well. And then enhanced vibrancy can come through community activation events, etc. And then just to finish off, I want to just showcase this. We undertook a project when I started this role a couple of years ago, and we came around to each of the councils and met with the general managers and mayors at the time. And loud and clear, we heard very clearly that data was a huge issue. Access to ready data, access to data that was shareable, and access to data that was transparent and so forth as well. So traditionally tourism data had been something that is 6 months delayed. For smaller LGAs, it's quite hard to get hold of. So we invested in transaction spend data with Commonwealth Bank. They had about a 30% market share. They obviously model that data up to represent 100% of the market. And we've been able to provide data through Debbie on a monthly basis, 2 weeks from the end of the month for the month preceding. The May data landed on my desk this morning, so I wasn't able to update the May data there, but that's the April data for 2025. And that enables people to make decisions very quickly. It supports grant applications, it supports events, it supports business cases. We're happy to share that data with your industry and with your council as needed. That's all I have. Thank you very much. Happy to take any questions. Yes.
Thanks for the presentation. It was fantastic. Just a couple of quick ones. On a happy side, we had a long weekend and it was off the chart here in Oberon.
Yes, I believe so.
I think two coffee machines blew up. And the thing that struck me about the weekend, even though it was so pressurised, our area is so safe and friendly. You look at the people in the street, we just present this safe, friendly environment. So that was fantastic.
Excellent.
In terms of bottlenecks, the road to Sydney.
Yes. Number one, we did some work on infrastructure as one of our priority projects. Again, when we started here, we did a survey and spoke to all the general managers. Great Western Highway was our number one priority. We understand, obviously, that sits with the former government. A lot of activities and options around that. We're pretty pleased. $100 million was announced recently in relation to the Bells Liner Road, because at least it creates that alternate, that alternate access from Sydney. And my son lives in Sydney. He went to Mudgee recently, and it was a 6-hour trip from Liverpool when returned. So yeah, it's a real problem when there's a bottleneck weekend or an accident or something on those roads.
Just your last slide, Sean, was obviously Genolan Caves, and obviously that's not open at the moment.
Yeah, correct.
And we have been pushing for a supplementary means of accessing the road, accessing those caves, noting that when the road does finally open, which I understand is on track for the end of the year.
Yes, I believe so.
I think the figure is about, I can't remember, 250 people or cars per is all it can get. Caves can obviously cope with about 3,000 a day, I understand. So that facility for us, for Oberon, is not going to be fully utilised, and for the state government, which owns.
Yes.
So what is the update on the alternate means of accessing the caves? Is there an update? I did raise it with Minister Atchison the other day, and I was told it was still in the discussion phase, and they were still again waiting for the relevant ministers to get together, including Minister Sharp and herself and others. Are you able to assist with facilitating that meeting so that this may be progressed a little more expeditiously?
Yeah, I think you probably know more than I do in relation to that. You've had a recent meeting with the minister. I mean, before when we had John Graham as the Minister for Tourism as well, we probably had slightly better access to some of those conversations. Minister Camper is the new Minister for Tourism. However, yeah, look, it's a real issue for this part of the world. We understand that. I mean, the fact that it's not open and hasn't been open for some time is a challenge. But like you, I've heard that they are on track to open maybe early next year. And then I guess it's about the capacity. I know they've got some grand plans as well for access. But driving traffic through Oberon to Genolan is probably a great opportunity as opposed to the previous road that obviously can bring traffic through this part of the world.
But even if there's a car park
Yes,
located with some
shuttle
type
service.
of,
Yeah,
cable car or something has been, what has been envisaged for some time, has been promoted for probably 20 years.
Yeah.
It's about time, we're just asking that it be seriously considered and looked at,
yes, I think
because the cost is considerably less
Than
than
the-
doing the current 2 mile
yes.
or indeed doing the 5 mile, which I understand is not on the plans at any stage at the moment.
So I believe, yeah. Yeah, I think, I mean, the grant opportunities, and whether that's a government invested project or whether that's a grant supported project, I mean, that's always a bit of a challenge. We've gone through a gold period for grants in the last couple of years. It appears that you would know, it appears to have dried up a little bit in the last few years. But maybe they'll release the coffers again shortly, who knows?
Right, thank you.
I remain the optimist.
Did you have any more? I understood the 100 million on the Belsalina Road. A lot of it was going to be safety. It's not actually going to create many more dual lane. Is that correct?
I thought it was a mixture of safety, overtaking lanes, maybe not so much dual lane, but yeah, overtaking lanes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But no, I don't have any detail.
Anyone else? Thank you very much, Jordan. Jordan, thank you very much for your presentation. Greatly appreciated. And know how much for supporting us and our tourist staff.
Thank you very much for your time, much appreciated.
We go to one of 7 questions from the public. Members of the public wishing to address council do so, providing the following guidelines are adhered to. 1, the person asking the question at the council meeting must clearly state their name and in what capacity they are acting. 2, if the person asking the question is acting as another person or organisation's agent, they must advise the council to have their prior consent authority. 3, the time limit for questions is 3 minutes. Question from the public is not an opportunity for debate with elected representatives or staff. It is an opportunity for the community to ask a question in relation to an issue or put a point of view relating to an issue that may be causing interest or concern. All questions and comments must be directed through me as the mayor. In the instance of a question that cannot be answered, we take on notice and a response given within a reasonable period. This is the only opportunity for a community member to address council during an ordinary meeting. Are there any questions from the public? Thank you.
Yes, my name's Adam Mercer. I'm here with my wife, Belinda. We live on Mutton Falls Road in Tarrana. I'm here as a ratepayer and resident. Last night we had to travel to Bathurst Hospital. We had a sick family member. We were there till the early hours of the morning. We drove back home at about 2 a.m. From the corner of O'Connell Road and Mutton Falls Road to our driveway is approximately 12 kilometres. Over this 4-kilometre stretch, we encountered 19 kangaroos either on the side of the road or on the road, 8 of which were on the road or jumped out in front of our vehicle. As a result of that, we had to slow down to about 60 kilometres an hour. I drive a 4-wheel drive with a bull bar, driving lights and a light bar that stretches the light almost a kilometre, and we still found it very, very dangerous and hard to navigate the road because of the kangaroos. We found that the main problem with the kangaroos isn't so much the kangaroos, but the habitat that they're hiding in on the sides of the road. And unfortunately, the lack of maintenance along the side of the road to actually control vegetation, the overgrown weeds, and also the dead wood that's actually sitting there. Our son, who's 19 years old, has been involved in 2 accidents with kangaroos so far. One which happened 12 months ago. May I pass the photos around? As a result of that, he hit a kangaroo, swerved off the road, and then hit a tree and did a substantial amount of damage to his car. The excess on his vehicle is $2,000. Now, he's 19 years old. He works in the IGA up here, and he earns about $500 a week. So that's 4 weeks' pay gone in an excess just on one instance. It took several months to get his car into the smash repair. It was in for a week, and once it was out, he had it out for 1 week, and he hit another kangaroo. Look, bad luck. It's young, it's inexperienced, but it still shouldn't be happening.
Now, approximately 12 months ago, Oberon Council went through Mutton Falls Road and had a partial clear up there. The work that was done was not very good, and as a matter of fact, it's actually done more harm than good, as there are a lot of very old conifers on Mutton Falls Road that were absolutely hacked to pieces. I have a photograph of that I'd like to pass around as well. There's been irreparable damage done to those trees that just simply wasn't necessary. And there is quite a lot of other dead wood and branches on the side of the road that have actually been left, which I'll pass these photos around. I'm going to try and stick it in 3 minutes. And there's also a lot of overgrown weeds and bushes and shrubs on the side of the road as well too. A lot of dead wood. All these were taken this afternoon. I'm not trying to bury you in paperwork. I'm just trying to be, So, I'm basically respectfully requesting that Oberon Council do something about the brush, the undergrowth and the weeds on the sides of not just Mutton Falls Road, but all the local roads along here, because it's getting very, very dangerous with the wildlife. The kangaroos are breeding, and there's more and more of them every single month that seem to be coming out. I've had a quick look on your website, and I've pulled down a document, the Oberon Roadside Vegetation Management Plan. I'm referring to page 39, and the document was produced in February 2019. It states here actions relating to other legislative requirements such as weed management and bushfire management. Ensure the roadside vegetation along bushfire prone roads and RFS preferred extraction routes is adequately maintained and kept clear in accordance with RFS and council bushfire exit strategies. With all due respect, I don't feel as though that this is actually being done. I'd also like to note that Mutton Falls Road actually is the link between the Taranar pub and the O'Connell pub. Every weekend we get hundreds and hundreds of motorcycles and car enthusiasts driving along that road. And with the amount of branches which are down on the side of the road, it is a traffic hazard, and it's only a matter of time before someone has a serious accident and collides with one of these branches or trees that have actually fallen down. So, as I said, I'm just basically requesting that something be done about the condition of this as soon as possible.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions from the public?
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Sig Survey. I'm a player. Now, I just wanted to make a quick comment about Stromlo and wind towers. The council met with Stromlo in March. Stromlo's information was imprecise. All statements were conditional, or it was too early in the process to be addressed, or the matter was confidential. They said there was not a single dollar of public support. In fact, the project is wholly based on government handouts, regulatory support, guaranteed power purchase agreement, free transmission upgrades, and much else. This pretend process will continue until Stromlo has secured a deal with New South Wales government and their consultation obligations terminate. Towers for pines and padding yards will be scattered over 1/3 of our land. Every farmer and tourist business and lifestyle or village property owner south from Black Springs, from Mount David State Forest in the west and east past Kinkin and south to Geron, will be affected. Towers will be so intermingled with private land and businesses that everybody will see, hear, or be polluted by wind towers. New South Wales Forest will have its pick of cheap land. To ruin 1/3 of the council area of a small community like ours is an act of outright vandalism. And the council wants a seat at the table to discuss marginal changes. So far, it has only achieved to signal loud and clear that Oberon is for sale, and that the question now is the money. It cannot be overstated. The project itself is the problem. There is no indication that council's present strategy is making any impression whatsoever on the government. Council needs to change the conversation. That there is a state decision does not in any way diminish council's powers of representation and influence, nor its obligation to exercise these. To lay the basis for focused action, I ask the councillors to submit another notice of motion confirming that council formally rejects the Pines project. It is a necessary step to take direct action from the council on behalf of the community. Thank you.
You see. Any other questions from the public? If not, I move to item 8, confirmation of minutes. 8.1 is that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 20th of May 2025 be confirmed. Remover, please. Councillor Hayden, seconder, please.
I'd
Councillor
like to just speak on that motion. There was a discrepancy in the numbers for the vote for the DA for the,
wait on. Are you seconding it? We need a seconder first. You want to raise something? Do you have a seconder?
yeah, I'd like to raise something.
Are you seconding it?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm happy to move the recommendation to accept the minutes. Councillor Robbie Lee
Yes.
does have an issue within the papers.
Thank you. Councillor Lee.
according to the papers, there was 3 voted against the motion, but the motion was 4 voted against the motion and 4 voted for the motion.
Which item are you talking about?
For the DA for the
What number?
Bromlow Towers.
13.5, I think,
13.5?
isn't it? In policy.
13.7, is that the
Seven.
wind monitoring station?
Yeah.
13.7, is it?
Yeah.
13.
So who was the incorrect person noted as voting for it?
I voted for it, but it hasn't been noted in the minutes. So there was councillor,
You voted for it or against
I
it?
voted against the motion.
Yeah.
I
Sorry,
voted
you voted, I'm getting completely confused. You voted for or against it?
against the motion.
Okay, vote against it.
Councillor O'Connor, Penbath, Avarice and Lee. But in the minutes, there's only 3. Avarice, O'Connor and Penbath, but there's a 4th one was Lee. So we just need that corrected in the minutes.
Is it? Yeah.
Yes, Mayor.
Wait, I just want to check that with, can we check that with the recording? Yeah, that's correct.
No, it's not correct. You need to refer to the meeting video.
We'll go back and check that. That will be checked. Okay, we'll check the recording.
Whichever it was, so it's 4-4 and then the deciding vote.
Okay,
Or be 5-4?
No, it'd be 5-4.
5-4 overall, yes, that's correct. And I was the 4th one voting against the motion.
That's just.
So just,
all right, we'll check.
just to be clear,
I
the
did.
votes within the minutes currently say that councillor Lee was voting for the recommendation. And he's indicating that he voted against the
So
recommendation.
we'll check that with the recording. But the recording could indicate it.
Because I remember, like, we spoke at the meeting when we had the break, 4-4, and then it was 5-4. And I was the 4th, 5. That makes any sense. So
Yes.
4 of us voted.
We get that, we'll have a look at it.
We'll have a-
So, thank you.
The only other comment I'd make is respect, I think the comment after the question from Robert Wiseman, there was something in the language there that said, Correct. It said the mayor responded advising that the council is governed by the Local Government Act. I think I think I should just say the mayor advised that the council is governed by the Local Government Act. And took the question on notice. Just English is just straight. All right, any other issues? If not, subject to checking the recording on that issue. I'll put the motion. All in favour? Thank you. At 8.2, extraordinary meeting, 3rd of June 2025. The recommendation is the minutes of the extraordinary meeting held on 3rd of June 2025 be confirmed. Have a motion, please. Councillor Hayden, as per the recommendation. And Councillor O'Connor. Thank you. Councillor Hayden.
Yes, nothing further.
Councillor O'Connor. Any matters arising? Councillor Carthy, was that you scratching your head or are you raising an issue? Okay, sorry, I was confused. Put your hand up, sorry. Okay. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 9 is the mayoral minute and report. Recommendation is a report item 9.01 is received as information. I'll move the motion. A second, please. Councillor Connor. Any matters arising?
Thank you.
Oh, yes, please speak.
Had a very busy month. There's a number of meetings with the Central Tablelands Weed Authority. Might give us a bit of an overview. I guess there's some things happening there. And also,
Yes, certainly. I'll deal with the C2WA. It has been a busy month because we've been interviewing candidates for a new general manager. We have made an offer to a candidate recently, and subject to the execution of a contract, I'll be able to name that person. I can't at this stage. So that's been principally it. We've also been spending a lot of time considering budgets moving forward. Also, roadside spraying program, but particularly QBRS and financial sustainability and those sorts of issues have been paramount. And as I said, a lot of time we decided not to go to a recruitment agency to engage the general manager. We decided to do it internally ourselves. So it's taken quite a bit of my time as well, acting as a recruitment agency. On the forestry hub, yes, we've had several presentations in relation to the forestry hub, and we suggested that they should speak to Robert Webb, who gave a presentation to us. They haven't. They were speaking to him after our forestry hub meeting. They're also looking. We suggested, as you know, that they look at, as a forestry hub, the economic and social analysis they need to make in relation to what impact the transport during the construction would have, in particular, on members of the forestry hub, including our industries here in Oberon. They've started off with a study in relation to consequences. If the wind towers were built, what consequences does that have for fire control? So that's their first study. I then asked them, well, what about the other issues about blockage of roads, transport out of product from Borg and our other industries, etc. They've agreed that they're going to do that, but they're going to do this with another contractor because different specialities. So they're going to do it incrementally. But they are certainly going to look into those issues. We've identified that very strongly as to what we believe they should look into. So they have agreed to do all of that. So they were the major issues we raised. Yes, Caroline.
Thanks, Mr Mayor, for your report. I did ask at the last council meeting if it would be okay if you could expand on your diary entries and actually put a brief report in there about some of these important issues, save us some time asking your questions and the answering within the meeting so that we can have it in the report. If you could, please.
And I did. If you notice in correspondence, on the 15th of May, I put a more detailed comment than I would normally to the correspondence to Stephen Dadd, right? In the correspondence to Andrew G, I put a little bit more detail as to what it was involved.
That's
On 20th of May, the correspondence with Joshua Stockwell, it indicates what it was about. So I tried to meet your request. On the 29th of May, I put in what that involved with Ross McDonald. On the 30th of May to Heath Molden, some of the things I have just responded to Councillor O'Connor. I put quite a lot of detail there so that I wouldn't have to be asked too many questions on that. So I think I've done. What other areas would you like me to do, Councillor Hayden? Because I have tried to meet your requirements on those areas that I thought might be a bit hazy.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. There's no need to be condescending and in the manner that you speak to myself. But I did ask if you could actually do a full report in your mayoral minute and report. That's just diarised entries, and I'm just thinking we sit here, we have long time frames as it is in these council meetings, and to be asked questions over and over on what's here, maybe broaden it and have a full report like our corporate services and everyone else does a report. Our past mayor used to do a report, which was a couple of pages as well. I've got copies of them. I've read them. He used to give a brief report of the items that were significantly important. So I don't want to sit in the meeting and just constantly be sitting here and repeating on and asking questions on what you did. I just would like to have it in the report. That was all. And I'm not saying what you've done is wrong or bad, but that's just a line or 2 lines of a diary entry. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak to the mayoral report? Yes, Councillor
I
Taylor.
just say I'm very happy with what you provide and provided with all the information that I require.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, I put the motion. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. So we go to 10.1, I notice has been deferred till the 30th of June extraordinary meeting. 10.2, instrument of delegation. Have a motion, Councillor Tucker. Would you like me to read it? 1, that the following specific exclusion be added to the instrument of delegation and sub-delegations to the General Manager as resolved by Council on 15th of October 2024. Inverted commas, any powers delegated to Council on the Transport for New South Wales document delegation to Council's regulation of traffic. 2, that the recommendation of the local traffic committee be referred to Council for a decision. Councillor Tucker.
Yes, I'd like to move that in those 2 parts, please.
Do you have a seconder? Councillor O'Connor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I don't think I need to speak for very long. I put some brief reasons that have been included in the business papers, and I sent a reasonably long and detailed email over the weekend just explaining a bit more of the background and reasons why I had put this in. So I assume most or hopefully all councillors have read that. So the purpose is simply to try to reinforce that any recommendations from the traffic committee come back to the whole council for a decision. Now, if that is what is currently happening already, well, that's fine. We're not changing anything. But what prompted me to do it was the last traffic committee report back in March. The impression I got, the way the recommendations to us were worded, was that we were simply noting, and the recommendations were then going to the general manager. And that got me concerned that there may have been a delegation in place. So it is simply to make clear that if there is a delegation, we don't want it. We want everything to come, any recommendations of traffic regulatory matters to come back to council for us to decide whether we want to go ahead with them. And I gave some examples in my email of where this council might want to make a different decision to what the committee had recommended. Thank you, that was all.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I support the motion and coming from a more practical angle, but when I saw this, I thought that applies to the query I was going to raise regarding the taxi rank. We had a new business come to town. He said immediately he was looking for a taxi rank. I would have thought that the people or the committee is very eminently qualified. We would have had a decision come back to council by now. And we've got a businessman in town running a taxi without a home. But just, I'd like to think that the committee and how it works, it should be working better than that. So I support Ian's motion.
Yes, I had an email exchange with councillor Tucker over the couple of days in relation to this. I understand what he's trying to do because ultimately the governing body is the decision maker of the council. And I understand where he's coming from because there have been some situations where a report will come to council and we'll have to apparently agree with what's in the report where we don't have to. And the local traffic committee does not have any delegations to make any decisions on what gets done in the community. That's council's decision to make. And this is just clarifying that. So I support the motion.
Okay, I'm proposing an amendment. I'll flip the amendment first. I did give it to Sharon. Maybe you could flash it home. The gist of it is the same as Councillor Tucker's put. And it'll say, and it'll include the words that Councillor Tucker has put in one after the words regulation of traffic. Because the documents, it does say including traffic committees, close inverted commas. Including the operation of the traffic committees, where those delegations are under Part 4 of the Roads Act and relate to traffic committees. Now, my reasoning for this is there are things that are purely operational and there are things that are strategic. I don't want operational things necessary about putting a sign up or something having to come back to us. I understand exactly the example you've used about the taxi rank, etc. That would come to council. But we can't get into minutiae and stop the operations of the council. So that's why I'm referring to this Part 4 where it talks about traffic committees, because then makes it, I believe, those strategic decisions and doesn't get into the operational side. That's why I'm proposing this. I don't then think you need to. I asked for a seconder. Oh, you can't second it. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Trembar, thank you. I think I've explained my reasoning as part of putting it up. So, Councillor Trembar, would you like to speak?
Oh, no, I mean, I understand the original motion and that we do need to have things come back and we make decisions, because I actually have seen other things as well where speed limits were going to be reduced and we wouldn't have had any input into that. So this just clarifies it completely with traffic committees and doesn't interfere with purely operational aspects of council that might just go through the technical director, then I'm more than happy to support this.
Yes, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can't see on the face of it that it really changes anything, because the traffic committee does only look at regulatory matters. So if we want to put up an advisory sign, a curve sign, or repaint the parking bays or anything like that, none of that is traffic committee stuff. The only thing, and it's clearly spelled out in the guidelines, the only things that go to the traffic committee, or that should go to the traffic committee, are new regulatory signs and markings. So replacing something, refreshing refreshing line marking, replacing a sign that's got faded. None of that goes to committee, none of that comes to council, that just happens operationally. So I can't see that it changes anything and I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, well, I will ask the general manager just to comment.
Yes, I totally understand the rationale for this. Staff have never implemented the delegation. We've always referred it back to council because that's the nature of what we do. If it needs to be put in stone, that's fine. The only concern that we had was in fact that under any powers delegated to council under that transport documentation delegations to council relate more than just the traffic committee. It relates to Part 8 of the Roads Act as well. Those delegations are given to council so they can continue to do that operational stuff. So I don't have any problem with the amended recommendation. I think I understand what Councillor Tucker's trying to deliver, and we support that. So I just didn't want to have the second component, which is the Part 8 components that allow operational stuff to continue, which fall under the same delegations, to be precluded. Because the last thing anyone wants, I think, is a report back to say, can we change a sign that's already there? Like those types of operational things. So I think that, like Councillor Tucker, I support the amendment that you've made.
Any further discussion? Not, I put the amendment. All in favour of the amendment? The amendment becomes the motion. All in favour of the motion? Passed unanimously. Thank you. Go to 10.3. Okay.
Councillor Graham wasn't on screen and we just.
Councillor Graham, you voted for the amendment?
Yes.
And for the motion? The amendment became the motion. Yes, right. Thank you. I know it's hard to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. 10.3, O'Connell Recreation Ground, cement shelter bases. The motion is the council use monies in 7-11 counter cement bases in the two shelters in the O'Connell Recreation Ground so they can be used. Each should be about 5 times 4 metres, which is about 2 cubic metres of concrete in each. Old cable drums will be used if council don't wish to extend more funds to this project. Now, Councillor McCarthy. Motion, seconder. Councillor Hayden. Councillor McCarthy.
Pretty straightforward, mate, Mr. Mayor. You want to finish these projects, and I also can't understand the relativity. Are we going to steal the concrete from the footpath, the O'Connell? Or what we're doing? What's the relative to that? This, what I mean is it's a separate part, it's part of the rec ground. It's not finished and therefore it sits there, can't be used. And I can't see the relativity of the footpath because all I can see, we're going to fudge the concrete.
Right, well, I'll get General Manager to answer that in a minute. Seconder.
Yes, I'm happy to support Councillor McCarthy's motion. I understand where he's coming from and what he wants to complete and get finalised. I was a little bit confused. I don't know what the old cable drums could be used. Could I ask through the mayor to Councillor McCarthy what the old cable drums are for? Are they just for doing some perimeter, some form work?
Well, the other shelters like this have got proper seats and proper tables.
Yeah.
If the council doesn't want to go down the path of extending those, the money.
Yeah.
In short term, you could just use cable drums, tables and seats.
Okay.
If you wish. They're
Thank
free.
you. I do.
Right, we have to look at WHS issues. Councillor.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted that clarification first before I finish. And yeah, I'm happy to support that. So yeah.
General Manager, can you comment on that?
Through the chair, as I've indicated to council previously, the reason why we originally put the funding of the concrete slabs with the footpath is that council had thought that a pebblecrete finish was the way that the original path was wanting to go, and we were trying to match like for like. Currently, the new proposal is to just have a concrete footpath, and if council want to move down this path, they can. But it was never the intent to hire a concreting job. It's not their remit.
So it was included within the footpath budget, was it?
We were going to conclude it as part of the tender that we were going to provide when we get a quote and the appropriate funding from transport.
And the issue with transport is we still don't have we got a response from them in
Not at this
relation to the footpath. Okay. Yes, councillor Kemba.
I am not going to support the motion. I've been asked for many things as I live in O'Connell and continually told. Many things in the community would like money to spend on the rec ground, and never once was the issue of the cement bases in the shelters, and including, I note here, the removal of the water tank that we've already discussed. I can tell you what they do want. They've just recently raised money for goalposts. They did it themselves, and they're on the way to purchasing those. They're now working on fundraising for the installation of those poles, marking of an athletics track and field, and they don't expect council to pay for it. The cricket team are applying for grants, and again, not expecting council to pay for anything. So I just can't support it. It's never anything I've ever been stopped, or it's come to the community group saying, goodness me, let's get some cement under those shelters. And I always understood that it's going to come from the pathway. If that doesn't happen, then maybe, yes, we can look at it, but I don't think it's a high priority. If there was any money, they would be asking, can you please help us put these goalposts up? Or can you help us do the marking of the field, which is a much better benefit to the community and the children. That's where I stand on it.
The other one speaking from?
Councillor Conrad is hand up. See.
You want to write a reply, councillor McCarthy?
I just want to see this project completed. We spent a lot of money putting the shelters there. It sits there unusable. Anyway. Some of the people in the O'Connell community have asked me, can't we finish it off? So there's a difference in opinions from some of the residents, but anyway, why put the thing up if you're not going to complete it?
All right, the motion, all in favour? Tucker, councillor McCarthy, councillor Hayden, councillor Leveris. All those against? Lee, Graham, McKibben, Connor and Trembar. Thank you. Motion is lost. We go to item 11.1, Central New South Wales Joint Organisation meeting 29th of May 2025. And the recommendation is that council receive and note the delegates report 29th of May 2025, Central New South Wales Joint Organisation Board meeting. I'll move the motion. Second, please, councillor Hayden. I think the report's fairly detailed and speaks for itself. A lot of interesting issues as always occurs at joint organisation meetings. I commend the report too. Yes, there you go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's always a good report. Central New South Wales Joint Organisation always provides a lot of information for council, and we have a second. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this matter? If not, I put the recommendation, all in favour. Thank you, carried unanimously. Go. Item 11.2, Oberon Arts Council meeting 22nd of May 2025. The recommendation is that council receive and note the delegates report to the 22nd of May 2025 Oberon Arts Council meeting. Councillor Graham. Second, please. Councillor McCarthy, thank you. Councillor Graham, I take it the recommendation is in accordance with the motion. Do you wish to speak to noting your
Yes.
statement?
Yes, I'd just like to make a few comments, please. Sorry. The main item of discussion, actually there were two. Disappointment that the signage wasn't funded, that had been funded a couple of years ago and transferred to the Blue Tree. So the signage for the artworks is still important. And the other one was the fact that the visitor information book doesn't acknowledge Oberon Arts Council's role in all the public artworks that are there. Basically, the Arts Council went for lots of grants, were able to employ the artists that are mentioned, but I feel it would be a very good idea if Oberon Arts Council was acknowledged as well.
Thank you. Is that it? Councillor Hayden? Oh, Councillor McCarthy, sorry.
Nothing more to add.
Councillor Hayden?
Yeah, I did read that and thank Councillor Graham for bringing that issue up. I did try when we were doing our 356 funding to try and get some grant funding for those signs, because we do have a lot of the art installations down there, and you know, the dinosaur one and all the other terrazzo tiles and so on, but there's no information boards mentioning why they came about, why they're there, and who actually did them. So that's just something that we probably should be helping the Arts Council with, and having a further discussion. And maybe when Councillor Graham has the next meeting, that she could get them to come in and have a conversation with us perhaps.
Yep. Further discussion? If not, I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Carried unanimously. We go to item 12. Committee reports, Heritage Committee meeting, 26th of May 2025. Recommendation is in 3 parts. 1, Council received and note the minutes of the Heritage Committee held on 26th of May 2025. 2, Kathy Manton be accepted as a community member of the Heritage Committee. 3, the Heritage Committee charter changes within the minute be adopted. And I have a mover, Councillor Trembath. Seconder, please, Councillor Connor. Thank you. Councillor Trembath.
Oh, yes, it was a good meeting. It's been a year since we actually had a heritage meeting, so, and a good attendance, and even in the gallery we had some good attendance as well. But overall, nothing really to highlight other than what's in the report, and that we do have a new member, Mrs. Manton from O'Connell, and she's heavily involved in the historical avenue of trees, as well as she runs all the Anzac memorial events. So she's quite a good addition to this committee. We did make some minor changes to the charter, and maybe Councillor Hayden would like to speak about the item that she raised at the heritage meeting. That will come back to the next one.
Yeah. Councillor Connell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I just got a question to Director of Planning, 4.4 in the report. And in the status update, it seems as though things are moving with the update on the O'Connell Avenue trees. O'Connell Avenue trees, maybe if you just give us an update on I'm not quite over.
Well, and through the chair, in my monthly report, the status report.
Yeah,
monthly report, there's a paragraph in there on the
so just pull that out a bit more.
Planning proposal. The Department of Planning have issued a gateway determination to go to the next stage, which is some consultation with Heritage and Transport for New South Wales, followed by some minor updates, and then it will go on exhibition for minimum 28 days. And following that exhibition, and that would come back to council for consideration, then would go back to the Department of Planning for their determination of the planning proposal.
So it goes to Heritage and Transport New South Wales for their support
For comments.
for the comments.
Yes.
Time frame? Yeah.
Through the chair, the whole project has to be completed by the end of the year. It's been
Financial.
identified by the end of the calendar year. That's been identified by the Department of Planning.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hayden.
Yes, it was a very good meeting for the first meeting for the Heritage Committee. I brought forward into the meeting a couple of recommendations that I wanted to put forward to the Heritage Committee, as Councillor Trembeth just mentioned, to work on a landscape protection strategy for the overarching landscape of the Oberon LGA as a whole, and one protecting Lake Oberon. So I'm up to 106 pages so far with a strategy that takes in the geomorphology, geology, all of the karst systems, the landscape and flora fauna reports, a whole heap of different broad elements of a strategy that can possibly protect our landscape for the future, being a very culturally and heritage significant landscape, being one of the first areas that settled over the Blue Mountains many years ago. And the geomorphology of our area is also a very fragile ecosystem and is also a very rare type of geology, because we're a volcanic plateau, and these can actually get protection through our LEP. We can do that at any point, but through the state, there are ways and means of going about it. So I'm just documenting, you know, all of the current portions, hillsides, trees, roadways, riparian zones, and so on that actually do need protection. And also, I have written to Heritage New South Wales, Water New South Wales, and the EPA, and Heritage New South Wales telephoned me last week and advised that they're having a meeting this week with Sydney Water and Water New South Wales to discuss how they can go about protecting Lake Oberon and Lake Oberon's foreshores, because of its significance, its historical significance, its dam building significance, because that's a one-of-a-kind type of infrastructure for its period. And they informed me they'd also rang council as well. So I'm not sure who they spoke to at council, but they had actually telephoned council to speak to someone. So they informed me of that, and they're meeting with Water New South Wales through this week. And they are very happy to support a protection strategy for the Lake Oberon Fish River water supply area. So that's where that's all up to.
Thank you. Got a couple questions if I could. What does a protection strategy mean in relation to, say, preventing further pine forests in those scenic areas? And what does it mean for farmers undertaking activities on their properties?
So do you want me to answer that?
If you could.
Yeah. So the pine forests within our LGA will come under the strategy as being protected as well, because they're part of the whole landscape agricultural picture. So pine forests are a dominant feature in our landscape, so they will also be something that can be protected. But the farmland also needs to be protected from further exploitation by forestry. So there's the old forests and so on and so forth. It's not going to hamper building. It's not going to hamper those kinds of codes. The idea of a landscape protection strategy is to protect the landscape from huge industrial scale infrastructure going onto our hillsides, onto our mountain ranges, such as wind turbines or massive infrastructure like that. It's not going to hamper farmers and so on, because there's a lot of heritage farm properties in this area that need their own protection because they are heritage significant. They've all people that came here in 1819. There's remnants of all of this historical stuff, and it's the same as down at Gilman Dyke, Mr. Mayor. As you know, you've got a very prehistoric environment down around there. There's rocks coming out of the landscape there that you won't find anywhere else. So it's to protect our heritage and our culture. That's what it's about.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion on this report? Yes, Councillor Carr.
My concern was someone that had a building permit that hadn't been activated, but councillor Hayden said that, it's not to stop anyone building.
No.
Right, okay. Anyway, I think, we'd all like to see the report once it's been done, read, thank you. Any further discussion? Not, sorry?
And the other one was the change of agriculture. In the 50s and that, we were pea and spud growers. Now we're not.
Well, some.
But anyway,
Okay, I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Thank you. We can go to 13 reports for decision. 13.1 mayoral and councillor fees 2025-26. The recommendation is that council one accept a 3% increase to mayoral and council fees for the 2025-26 financial year in accordance with the determination by the local government remuneration tribunal for the 2025-26 operational plan. And should the increase be accepted, to endorse the council and mayoral monthly allowance for the 2025-26, I think there's a T there that should be removed, financial year as $1,083.69, bracket, $13,004.28 per annum, bracket, for each councillor, and $2,364.32, bracket, $28,371.84 per annum, bracket, for the mayor, exclusive of superannuation. Do I have a move of a motion, please? Councillor Hayden.
Yes, Mr Mayor, I'd like to move the recommendation in point 1.
And 2?
Yes, as it's written.
Yeah, so it's 1 and 2, right. Just second, please. Councillor Levis. Councillor Hayden.
Yes, as everyone knows, councillor fees are not very much, and when some of the councillors that do actually work, they have to forego a lot of income from their employment to actually fulfil their roles. Also, as I've mentioned previously, on other occasions, that a lot of time is given up by councillors, and should we want to attract a different demographic of people who start putting their hands up to do some of this hard work, they need to be remunerated effectively, although that's still not an effective remuneration for a lot of the work that councillors do. It's actually peanuts, and we're often at a loss every single month when we come into a council meeting, and the amount of committees that councillors are involved with, and the time that they've got to take up every single week dealing with things with council. So it's a very small amount, but I support the 3% increase. Thank you.
Councillor Levis. Sorry.
Nothing to add.
Nothing to add, sorry. It's not here.
Got a croaky voice.
Yeah, that's right. You want to speak against this, councillor?
Just a quick comment. We're on the upper band, the minimum maximum. We're close to the top of the range. I mean, personally, I'm happy to go with what other councillors want, but I'm happy to leave it as it is, given that we're on the top band, towards the top of the band, and have no increase.
Councillor Trimmer.
I'd like to speak against it. The optics are not great considering what we have just presented to our community in terms of increases. And we are in the upper band level. People do not become councillors for the money that you get in council outside. It will definitely not going to make any difference to attracting people, whether it's an extra few dollars. So I just think, considering where we are financially and what our community are being asked to increase in rates and order, that we don't agree to this increase in port electricity.
So are you proposing an amendment, is what I'm asking?
No,
To say that,
against it.
So
but, so this position is, I just checked some clarification. If the motion fails, then I take it that the current fees stay as they are. General manager.
So through the chair, it doesn't say that.
No, it doesn't say that.
And I think that an amendment would need to be foreshadowed if that was to have no change.
Or an amendment would have to be made because the motion has been made.
That's correct, yeah, sorry.
Do not accept. It's the amendment.
Okay, so your amendment is that council do not accept a 3% increase to mayoral and council fees for treatment in accordance with the termination of local government bureau for the 2025-26 operational plan. And two would be that the mayoral and council fees remain as they were, as they are for 2025-26, as they were for 2024-25. Is that what you're trying to say?
Point of order, Mr Mayor, you've once again fed an idea to a councillor to get them to put forward an amendment. If you want to make an amendment, you can make an amendment, but you don't keep feeding.
I'm here to try and facilitate to help councillors to get where they want to get, because I want to make sure what's being proposed is firstly legal and what's proposed is it's indicated specifically what is included, what we're including. The amendment is basically for clarification and nothing else. You have a seconder? Councillor Connick? So we're discussing the amendment at the moment. Any views?
Wait till it comes up because I don't know what we're discussing.
Well, the gist of it is the status remains the same. Happened to.
Had it deleted and I put it back in when you were talking.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the amendment. Does anyone else want us to talk to it?
No one would talk against it.
All right, Councillor Hayden?
Yes, I don't agree with that. All councils are given the right to have their increase with their finances like any other, and we're certainly not at the top of the band. We are actually in the middle. We don't get 13,000 and whatever a year as councillors, and it's okay for those councillors that are very well off financially.
Point of order.
But there are, what's your point of order, councillor?
You are
What's your
denigrating
point of
other
order?
councillors around this table as if there's some sort of difference.
All
No,
right,
what-
councillors,
what's the point of order? I'm asking what her point of order is.
denigration of councillor.
No, I'm not. I'm saying there are councillors that do actually have to have jobs and have to give up working to come into this place. And it's not fair that people sit round tables that are financially very well off, better than others, and want to forego revenue where other people, it costs them a lot of money. It actually costs a lot to be a councillor in this council. And we're not ever going to attract any younger councillors because people might sit there and go, oh, it's not about the money. No, it isn't about the money. But money does help. And people that have to actually give up time from work or time from some study or whatever they might be doing as a younger person, this council will never attract young people, ever. And we're at the lower end of the rate scale. We're not at a high end. Anyway, I'm allowed to say my piece, and that's my piece on it.
Okay. Anyone else wish to speak on this?
Yeah, I'd like
Councillor,
to
please.
say, could we give this a bit more thought and postpone it to the next meeting? Because there's some issues that maybe.
Foreshadowing
a bit more
amendment.
thinking.
Foreshadowing an amendment?
Well, I'd like to amend that. We give this some more thought.
You have a second to defer it?
It's just foreshadowing.
It's a foreshadowed one, okay? Anyone else wish to speak to this? We're speaking to the amendment, which is to, yes. You're the seconder, aren't you? Yes.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just for clarity, we are towards the top of the band. You just have to look at those figures. The minimum is 11,000, for the councillors, minimum's 10,500, maximum's not 13,930, and with this proposed increase would be 13,000. So we all are towards the top of the range, and with the mayoral as well. So just for clarity, and I think as Councillor Trenbar said, I think we came to this job to represent the community, and we all give up time whether, and I know there's probably more than half work. We all work, either work or we've got other tasks we'd like to be doing. So I just think it's really just comes back to a fairly simple set of information in front of us. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll speak against this, this motion because, I certainly don't need a meeting, but I know others do. And I'm just mindful of others. And that's what I've got to say.
I think some other councillors probably should speak on this if they have a view. Good of you. Councillor McCarthy.
I have a view that we've got to do all this tonight.
Oh, I don't know, I couldn't tell any other. Councillor Tucker, do you have?
Katie, got a view?
I agree, we should deal with it tonight because it's needed for the
Moving forward.
budget document.
Katie Graham?
Deputy Mayor?
Katie Graham?
Yes, Katie.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's difficult to justify an increase when we've already told the community our financial position. So I know it's not a huge amount, and it never is. Even the extra bit still doesn't make it a position where you're actually getting some money. That doesn't happen. So after doing some of the IPNR presentations, people weren't really upset about a small deficit, but if it grows, I think there will be. So I'm happy to support the amendment.
Do you want to reply?
No, I think it's spoken.
All right, I put the amendments on the board. All in favour of the amendment? All against? So Leveris, Hayden, Tucker. Against? McCarthy, you're for it? For the amendment?
I voted for it.
Yep, fine. Other councils voted for it. Thank you.
That's for the amendment.
So the amendment now becomes the motion. All in favour of the motion, please. Same people, Grimbath, O'Connor, McCarthy, Lee, and Graham. You go to item 13.2, ARIC members' fees, 2025-26. Recommendation is council to accept a 3% increase in audit risk and improvement committee member fees for 2025-26 financial year in accordance with determination by the local government remuneration tribunal for the 2025-26 operational plan. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Hayden.
I have a different motion,
Thank you.
that we don't give them any fees.
So the motion is that the audit risk and improvement committee are paid no fees. Do you have a seconder for that?
I withdraw, Mr. Mayor. I'm being facetious.
It's no interest, isn't it? Not no fees, what you said.
You said no fees.
Okay.
There's no seconder?
I said I withdraw, Mr. Mayor.
Right, second. So do we have a motion then? For the recommendation or otherwise? If not, then the motion lapses.
Three.
Councillor Tucker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will move that the fees paid to the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee members remain the same in 2025-26 as they have been in 2024-25.
Okay, we've got a seconder. Councillor McCarthy. Councillor Tucker, yes, thank you.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting or intending to speak on this item. But given the decision we've just made in relation to councillor mayoral fees, I think it's only reasonable that we continue the same practice with the ARIC members.
Okay, thank you. Councillor McCarthy,
Nothing to add.
any further discussion on this matter? I just ask, through the general manager, Director of Corporate Services, do we have what's in our agreement with the ARIC members?
So through the chair, the local government remuneration tribunal was the mechanism as to how, in the terms of reference, how council may determine an increase. My understanding what council has just decided with the mayoral allowance and council allowance. I think the general understanding of ARIC members is their increases would be tied with that. So I think that it would be the understanding that should.
So this is not in breach of any agreement we've got specifically with each of the ARIC members?
No, from my understanding, there's no direct breach in terms of this is a consideration mechanism, how council can consider the increase. Each time council needs to resolve an increase for ARIC as well.
Thank you. Okay, the motion. No further discussion. I put the motion that the fees paid to the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee member fees for 2025-26 financial year remain as per the current fees in 2024-25. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 13.3, policy 2213, financial reserves policy. Recommendation is that the revised financial reserves policy 2213 be adopted as presented. Do I have a motion, please? Yep. Councillor Tucker, seconder.
I'll move as per the recommendation.
As per the recommendation, thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor McCarthy, thank you. Councillor Tucker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Happy to move it. No comments, nothing to add.
Councillor McCarthy.
Nothing to add to the report.
Any other matters raised by councillors? If not, I put the motion that the revised financial reserves policy 2213 be adopted as presented. All in favour? Thank you. Carried unanimously. We go to item 13.4, Oberon Land Use Strategy Project Review Report -draft LSPS 2025. Recommendation is in three parts. That one, council place the draft Oberon Land Strategy Planning Statement LSPS 2025 and review of submission report on public exhibition for a minimum period of 28 days. Two, upon completion of the exhibition period, further report be provided to council outlining any submissions received. Three, the division be called in accordance with section 375A of the Local Government Act 1993. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Hayden, as per the recommendation. Seconder, please. Councillor Tucker, thank you. Councillor Hayden.
Yeah, I'm happy to move the recommendation. There will be some submissions that I'll have to make because I noticed that there were some irregularities in a couple of the statements within it, but I'm sure that that can come back to council. Thank you.
Councillor Tucker.
I have nothing to add, Mr. Mayor.
Any other discussion on this matter? Not, I put the motion in three parts. All in favour? Thank you. Carried unanimously. 13.5 is being removed because of the deferral of the previous 10.1, so it's no longer required. We go to 13.6.
Page number, please.
323.
323. 13.6 is the Oberon Business and Tourism Association -MOU. Recommendation is one, note and support the intention of Council Opta, which is the Oberon Business Tourism Association, to continue their relationship for the development of a revised memorandum of understanding. Two, receive a further report for consideration outlining a revised memorandum of understanding with the Oberon Business and Tourism Association for the next available meeting. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Hayden.
That's the recommendation, isn't it?
Thank you. Seconder, please. Councillor Connor, thank you. Councillor Hayden.
Yes, I'm happy to move this. I was expecting to see the MOU this month, but I suppose that'll be next month when that comes out. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Connor. Any other discussion on this? If not, I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Thank you. Carried unanimously.
Have an alternate.
Okay, 13.7, yes. Councillor O'Connor actually had a hand up first. Sorry, Cranbrook had a hand up first. Yes. 13.7 GPG request owners consent regional classified road.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I do have an alternate motion that's sent through.
I think, this is the one I've been given. I've got two here. Yes. And this one, the council defer any consideration of approval and seek a meeting with GPG to understand where the application is up to and allow council to ask questions of the proponent, given the substantial time taken to get the application to its current state. 2, the GPG be advised the meeting will be recorded and live streamed as per council meetings with other renewable energy proponents. 3, it will be considered at the next available meeting.
Can I foreshadow
Yes.
my alternate?
Well, I need a seconder first, sorry. So if you can speak to it, second it, then you go to you for the foreshadow. Thank you.
Okay, I put this forward, but I do believe we need to speak with GPG. I know they haven't done what they should have done from day one, but that doesn't preclude us from sitting down with them and speaking to them about where they're at with this project. And I think I've got a couple of questions that I'd ask them, why they've not engaged with the community and kept up to date the progress of the project. Because we're only aware by checking the portal of any delays. 2, why in all extension requests they advise planning that they've been actively engaging with the councils and they haven't. And we know that to be the case here in Oberon. And they have no idea of the geographic scope of the project and the impact on the whole LGA. It's not just about this piece of land at Paling Yards. So the timeline has come from November 23, when the EIS closed. In October 24, there was a request for a further extension to November 24. In February 25, there was a request to have a further extension for March 25. And in March, there was a request to have a further extension to May. So we're now in June, and I don't see really a lot of change. So it's very important for us to get these people in the room. And so our community can see that we are asking the right questions on their behalf, because they just had a community session at the library. I don't think many of the community knew it was even happening. They didn't even know that the transport route had been changed. And that's not the right vehicle to get out about this project. So I think it's really exactly what we do at TAG and Stromlo. We get them in the room, we ask the questions on the behalf of our community, the hard questions, and get the information, because it's not just about us and what we think. It's making sure the community's questions are being asked. Some people may be very happy that the Mount is going to have some changes made to it. Personally, I hate that road, but it doesn't mean that I want to change, but I drive it a lot. So I think we need to hold them to account and ask all the relevant questions. And then we as a council consider our decision at the next available meeting as to what the next steps will be to this request. But just blocking them and saying we're not going to meet with them is not going to get a seat at the table with planning and any decisions around this project. So that's my reasoning for recommending that we do meet with them and ask all the right questions.
Councillor O'Connor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I think it was very timely that the gentleman spoke. Pardon my voice. Gentleman spoke earlier this evening about the Stromlo project and the difficulties that presents to our council and community. During these processes, it's incumbent on our Oberon Council to shine a light when important matters are brought before the council and hold each developer to account should flaws in the process be identified. This is no means an easy task, for council and council staff. Should we not scrutinise and shine the necessary light? The risks to our council are significant. Risks when negotiating road bonds, VPAs, our strength in negotiation will be diminished. The risk decisions will be made in error, which may lead to unforeseen expensive outcomes. I look at this GPG project and I'm sorry if I cross over with what Councillor Trembath has said. GPG still hasn't responded to 450 objections after 18 months. That's a fundamental requirement of theirs to do that some 18 months ago. It still hasn't been done. The transport routes submitted in the GPG EIS has now been changed. The Oberon Council was not consulted, as was Bathurst and Orange councils, with regard to the change in the transport route. That's early on. We were left in the dark. All we had was a drop-in session, which really was under the cover of gave them an opportunity to announce a new transport route. And then, quite simply, if you look at the old plan, the 2022 Department of Transport plan, in terms of the changes they've requested for the roadworks, there's 3 corners that they outlined, that each of those corners needs significant work, but for some reason they've only put before us 1 corner. I just don't understand what's happening there. So overall, I support Councillor Trembath's motion.
Councillor Hayden?
And I think I'll probably end up moving an amendment to what's on board. We don't, with this Culling Yards wind farm, so that some of the councillors who aren't aware, has been on the books for 24 years. So it's not new, been there for a long time. Mudgee Council, Muswellbrook Council turned around and said, no, you're not coming through our LGA because you're going to rip our roads up and you're not going to fund any of the repairs. I'm not going to support the motion as it sits there because we can talk to these guys until the cows come home and turn blue and jump over the moon. They're not going to, they're not interested in having a conversation about what they're doing. They just want to get their project, what do you call it, ticked and passed so they can sell it on, because it is for sale again. This will be the 3rd time. To another proponent. It's listed as $50 billion on the market, worldwide market. This is how these developers operate and how they make paper projects and sell them and move them on and source the riches from it. So I can't support that motion sitting there, but we as a council, we've been proactive. We've got a foot in the door. We have conversations with these proponents and people that are doing projects, but this particular Spanish company isn't interested in this LGA. They're just interested in ripping up our roadways where we have a sensitive environmental corridor. So I would like to move an amendment if I could please. And it will be an amendment and it will be in 7 parts. So what you said, Nick? Sorry.
Is that what you're?
Yep, as per what I had sent through. And I just want this council and the community that are watching understand that.
Sorry, wait on. You're putting the amendment?
Yeah.
You have a second?
Oh, okay, no, I haven't yet.
I'll put it for discussion.
You're seconding, Councillor?
So as I had mentioned earlier in the meeting about our geology and our significant volcanic landscape in Oberon, we also have sensitive road sites and sensitive flora and fauna. And our Oberon Mount is iconic. That Oberon Mount is a site where we have sensitive koala habitat on both sides of the mount. We also have echidnas and blue kingfishers that nest in the Oberon Mount. I know that as a fact. That's also in our environmental roadside management plan. I do not support under any circumstances to give permission. We can actually refuse permission. So the motion that I have here states 1, that Oberon Council refuse the request from GPG to provide owner's consent for the purpose of lodging a development application involving work on regional classified roads. The Oberon Mount cannot have any remediation work on it. It cannot have those banks cut away. It cannot have the tree vegetation cut and trimmed. And this is only one section of the road that they're asking for this remediation work. The other section, as you'll come to know if you've read all of the pages, the hundreds of pages in their transport route, that they will be ripping up near our roundabout, up on the opposite side of the road, tearing up sections of our roadway. They will then be continuing that when they have to go through the O'Connell Avenue of trees. Everyone's been saying they don't want the avenue of trees destroyed. Well, here's your chance now. Instead of jumping up and down and people saying, no, 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 we've got to stop this. Here is an opportunity right now to say, no, I'm sorry, you can't damage our roadways. We're not giving you that permission, and you do not have our permission to pass through our LGA. Other LGAs have done that, and that's what this motion in the 7 parts actually proposes.
Okay, so Councillor Hayden, if I could just interrupt you a minute. The recording, I propose to read out your amendment so that it's on the recording.
Want me to read it out?
I'll read it out. That Oberon Council refuse the request from GPT to provide owner's consent for the purpose of lodging a development application involving works on the regional classified road within the Oberon local government area for the following reasons: 1, the affected area, including Oberon Mount, contains sensitive and known habitat for the purple copper butterfly, koalas, echidnas and blue kingfishers, and any further disturbance or modification of this landscape poses an unacceptable environmental risk. 2, Council does not support any further changes to the roadscape or landscape features of the Oberon Plateau, particularly in locations of environmental and visual sensitivity. 3, the Oberon Mountain surrounding winding roads form part of the region's valued natural and scenic identity, and incremental infrastructure changes have already eroded this landscape character. 4, the route in question is heavily utilised by existing log and freight traffic, and additional construction or transport operations associated with this proposal would exacerbate congestion, create safety hazards, increase the risk of road damage. 5, Council is not willing to facilitate development that could result in long-term repair costs being borne by ratepayers due to wear and tear or infrastructure failure caused by the increased heavy vehicle movements. 6, no formal engagement or consultation has been undertaken by GPG with Council regarding the scope, impacts or mitigation measures related to the proposal. 7, as the land owner of the road corridor, Council exercises its legal right to withhold consent and does not permit GPG to use Council roads for infrastructure haulage or works. That is the motion, that is the amendment proposed by Councillor Hayden and seconded by Councillor Leveris. You got further to say?
Well, I don't really have, I think the motion actually really speaks for itself, but all of the information has been sourced from roadside vegetation management plan, all of the protected species and the supporting data from flora and fauna survey records, geomorphology and landscape sensitivity. That's all been sourced from the Geological Society of New South Wales. Infrastructure and freight impacts, well, we all know how many trucks travel on that road, and 47 turbine infrastructure movements on that road multiplied by 3 or 4 over a period of 18 to 24 months is going to have massive impact on our transport and freight network in Oberon. And it's something that we can legally do. We can legally refuse access. That's it.
Councillor Leveris.
I mean, all I've got to add is the council has a clear responsibility to protect community assets, uphold environmental policy, and act in the best interest of both the public, and their local environment.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Hayden's done a wonderful job there, and I support most of all, if not all those points. The question I have through you to the General Manager, can we refuse to support the GPG request? And what would be the outcome of that?
If I could, I asked the general manager, and this may, I'm talking about this because it may actually, I've asked how our consent fits in with Transport for New South Wales approval and also, within an independent planning commission, because I note the independent planning commission in relation to wind farm issues before has overridden council determinations. And I think we need to investigate those issues a bit more carefully, is my view. But I'll leave it to the general manager because I have actually asked this of the general manager earlier this week. Yeah. That's part of my, I can't understand where our consent is, where Transport for New South Wales, if they have to do a consent as well, or whether their consent, but yeah, it's a bit confusing for me. And it probably is for other councils.
Through the chair, as it is for general managers and stuff. There is definitely some clarity issues that we've requested. In conversations with the state around this, there was some acknowledgement that this is where works are proposed within a road reserve that falls under the remit of council, and council as the road manager is the part of the legislation that they talk to. We have a role to play as a landowner to give that consent. It's been stressed to me that council giving landowners consent in no way supports any proposal. Like, it's purely to allow them to continue doing the assessment and their undertakings as required by the state. Yeah, the question around what would happen if council refused to do that. It's a question that I've asked Transport for New South Wales now, and I'm awaiting that response. But from the state, from planning's perspective, they've provided me an answer that says that under section 23(1) of the regs, landowners' consent must be provided for all land on which works are proposed, which is a given. Like, if you wanted to build a house on your land, you need to give landowners consent to that. So that's nothing untoward. If we were doing a Part 4 assessment and the landowner hadn't given consent, the development doesn't go anywhere until the landowner signs off on it. So if that was the case, then council could do that. However, it was clear from state when I asked this exact question, I said that it shouldn't be used to weaponise an application process, and I took that as something that the council needs to consider. Which is why the original recommendation was to get them in the room and find out what they need to do. Landowner's consent isn't for the entire length to traverse the road. It's simply to do the works within that area that's been earmarked. But I can't sit here and tell you that I know the answer. If council said no, what would happen?
So you've given us some good information there that I didn't have before. So if we went down the path of Councillor Tremba's motion, we'd still have the opportunity to refer back and say no once we get further advice. And that may be.
That's for decision for council.
No, I'm just saying we're not ruling out the matters that Councillor Hayden has put forward. We're just really saying let's have a meeting first.
Through the chair, you make those known in that meeting that's what you've got concerns about.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just following on from Councillor O'Connor, I'm also somewhat sympathetic to some of the points in Councillor Hayden's amendment, particularly relating to the environmental impacts and the physical impacts on the road and repair costs, potential repair costs. But as Councillor O'Connor said, I do think it's a bit premature to just be declining it now. I think a better way to go about it is to have the meeting so that I can get a clearer idea of the extent of the impacts, maybe it could even include a site inspection. Maybe they could peg out, yeah, the clearing and the earthworks will go back to those red pegs up there, or those red pegs right up on the top of the hill, or it's 2 metres off the road. I just cannot tell from the plans that have been provided. So I think a meeting would be useful. And we could also at that meeting ask questions about the rest of the route, even though this application is just for that one location. We can talk about the whole route right to the subject site and what other routes they might have considered. Depending on the answers that then come back, I may well be willing to support something along the lines of Councillor Hayden's amendment, but I'm just not in a position to do so yet. So I will be opposing the amendment and supporting the original motion at this stage. And I also did have one other question, if I may, either for the GM or the director. Just the report gives a bit of information about the status of the road, but I'm wondering whether Transport for New South Wales has given any submission on the matters in this amendment. So have they commented on environmental matters or on damage to pavement or anything like that?
Through the chair, no, that hasn't occurred yet. They're questions that we've asked for Transport and we're just waiting the response.
Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor McCarthy.
Yes, I got to find out all the bits and pieces with it. When the route was programmed on TV the other night, it showed that they come in from the roundabout on the Orange Road and go down Bradwardine Road, which is a local council road. So
They do.
they must have authority to go over the council, because they said that they didn't need their concurrence, and Councillor Ben Fry also said that he was bewildered to let it happen, and that means they're going to come in through Durham Street, isn't it?
Yes, well, even if we go back to the original motion, I was going to suggest a full investigation about the legal status of our approval or refusal needs to be considered in light of what Transport for New South Wales or the Independent Planning Commission could do. That's good. I was going to add that. Sorry. That's
So just through the chair to what Councillor McCarthy said, they have been with Bathurst Council, and they only met with 2 people in Bathurst Council, and I know that, and got approval in principle, but it doesn't mean that it will happen. But when I went to that meeting, I was very sort of surprised when I actually saw this map and realised exactly where they think they were going. But the reason for my motion and getting them in the room and meeting with them is to ask all the right questions so that when we come back, we can make a considered opinion on whether we do approve it or we state there are a lot of conditions that we want put in place first. So it's not to say yes to it, it's not to say no to it, but at least we're considering it with all the right information and understanding.
So I will be opposing the amendment, whilst I have, as others have said, a lot of sympathy for a lot of the issues raised by Councillor Hayden. There are a number of, first is, I think we need to investigate why they've only submitted one corner, because as has been stated before, I would have thought further, I don't know what happens in the other corners of the Oberon mount. As I've said, I think we need to investigate what a consent or refusal means and how, if that can be overridden by Transport for New South Wales, the Independent Planning Commission, as has happened with other projects in relation to renewables. The other thing I want to obviously ensure is investigate, because we have to be careful if we refuse it on a number of the issues raised by Councillor Hayden, that's not then thrown back at us if improvements are to be made to Oberon Mount by Transport for New South Wales or others, that's not thrown back at us as a reason for not undertaking those improvements or not doing works. So whilst it has to be, I agree with what Councillor Hayden is conceptually saying, I think we just have to be careful that it doesn't come back to bite us later, because a number of us would agree that that road is not could be improved. So for those in particular reasons, I would be not accepting the amendment, but I would also be making some. I'm foreshadowing that I would be proposing some slight amendments to the original motion put up if we go back, if we end up there. Thank you, right of reply.
Right and reply. Okay, I've heard what everyone has to say and I accept everyone's opinion. I thought I'd give this a shot because, you all understand that we can actually say to any proponent, don't have permission to drive through our LGA. And we actually have that legal right to say that. So Mudgee did so and Muswellbrook did so, and it's documented. And GPG then had to find another transport route because they said, no, we're not allowed to drive through their LGAs. That's why they're looking at another route. Orange hasn't made a determination or given approval for them to go through Orange yet either. So they haven't got approvals and they have had no communication from GPG. And Bathurst Council had met with them on the one occasion, but the councillors have not made a determination or if they're going to give permission to even go through their LGA. So they're things that we need to actually, if we're going to be proactive and we're going to protect our environment, we've got to start making some hard decisions. And I understand and I hear what everyone is saying tonight, but everyone could turn around and say no, and it's not going to really impact us. By saying no isn't really going to impact because they're going to say, well, too bad, we are, and we're going to do it via this. And then you've just got to find another weapon to fight them with down the track. So that's the thing. I put this up. That's an opportunity because they're seeking permission. And anyone that's seeking permission, you can say no to. And that's simplified. And so anyway, vote as you like. I've worded it out. I did a lot of research into it to try and get some protection mechanism there for this community because this community is valuable to me and always will be.
All right, had the right of reply. Sorry, I've got to put the motion. All right, all in favour of the amendment, please. Councillor Hayden, all against the amendment.
And Katie.
All other councillors. So we go back to the original motion.
That's all right, I get it.
You can amend.
Sorry, and I was motion which I was proposing to add a 4. The full investigation be undertaken by the general manager in the legal position of what an approval or refusal means from council, and how that can be and how that works in relation to Transport for New South Wales, the Independent Planning Commission, and whether that consent can be over or refusal can be overruled.
Motion with the consent of the amendment and the seconder.
I'm happy for another.
No. Yeah, I'll just leave it that the general manager investigate the legal status of approval or refusal, in particular in relation to Transport to New South Wales and the Independent Planning Commission. Yeah. And the project, Jared.
Mr Mayor, I'd like to support 1, 2 and 3, but I don't support number 4 because it's going to put us at legal cost. And if you look at this, we're up for enough legal costs.
Well, I would suggest we'll investigate through the Office of Local Government, then we don't have to pay. So what you like?
All right. No, I'm happy with that.
All right. Do it for the Office of Local Government.
We've asked the question, who would dominate it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Councillor Thorne.
I was speaking.
Yes.
This is really a difficult issue now.
So that's one.
They've come to us with a proposal with one corner only.
Yes.
Of the project.
They've come to us with a proposal based on a 66 metre blade length, whereas storm loads are 100 metres. How does that put this proposal in perspective? This is our dilemma now. But we've just got to deal with it as best we can as councillors. The question I'd like to put to the General Manager through you, Mr Mayor, is Councillor Hayden's statement, comment regarding Mudgee, and I think it was Mudgee, that they denied access. Were you aware of that?
Through the chair, Mudgee and other LGAs have said where these blades are to traverse their local government area, not to be supplied within their local government area. They've objected to that.
And that's why it was diverted.
My understanding is that's why they've had to look for another alternate route.
Goodness gracious.
Yes, councillor McCarthy.
I'm only talking to this amended motion, so I don't think I'm breach. When this goes out to Transport New South Wales, they will have to assure us that these blades are going to get around the other corners. That'll be a part of their legal requirement. That's their job. In other
That's
words,
part of the transport plan they will do, that they will submit, as I understand, the proponent, that is GPG, will submit to Transport for New South Wales a route and how they're going to, it's part of the transport plan they present.
but what I'm trying to lay the fears of council upon is that Transport for New South Wales will have to be assured that they can be moved along the current route other than where they have identified that pinch point. In other words, the bottom of the mount, they've got to be assured that they can go around there.
Well, I'm assuming, well, these are the things we need to find out. That's why we're asking. Does that mean that they think they can get round corners 1 and 3 without having to do any changes?
The Transport for New South Wales that are authority have to be assured, issuing a permit, that it can be done.
Yes. Yes.
Now, through you, Mr. Mayor, and to Councillor McCarthy, they've only applied for one corner, and commercially, I look at it and I go, they're doing it for a reason. The reason is once we approve that or just agree to that, we'll never be able to disagree to anything. Okay, so this is just a little small meatball, as these are. They give us little meatballs at a time. And we eat the first meatball and we're gone. So it's not about Transport New South Wales. It's just about the process and understanding the process and not getting ourselves caught up in a wrong process.
That's a
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very tiny suggestion in number 4. Would you want to change the word status to implications?
Yes, okay.
Bill. All kinds of.
Right, is there any further discussion on this? If not, I put the motion in. You right, councillor Hayden, or do you want me to wait?
I'm still listening to you, Mr. Mayor, I'm just stirring.
I'll put the motion in 4 parts. All in favour? And councillor Hayden in favour?
Yeah.
Passed unanimously.
Thank you.
If you go 13.8, enterprise risk management policy 1113. The recommendation is that council, 1, note the submissions received during the exhibition of the draft policy 1113 enterprise risk management. 2, endorse the policy amendments to respond to the submission as outlined in the report. 3, adopt the final version of the policy 1113 enterprise risk management. 4, publish the adopted policy on the council's website. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Tucker? Going to move it?
Yeah, okay.
You put a very good submission in, if I can say. Thank you. Second, please. Thank you, Councillor Dunbar. Councillor Tucker.
No comments because I've already put in a very good submission.
Right. I thought it was actually a good submission. Thank you. Councillor Trevor.
I have nothing further to add other than, yes, I did read the submission and thank you. But otherwise I'm happy to measure.
Any further discussion? Not, I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Passed unanimously. Thank you. Go to 13.9. Development application DA 2025.031 carports for Brennan Crescent Oberon. The recommendation is that one, Council vary Part C 6.4, carports and garages, Part C 5.5, building height plane of its current development control plan 2001 in relation to development application PA 2025.031 for a carport at Lot 2 in DP 848153 being known as 4 Brennan Crescent Oberon. Two, a division be called in accordance with section 375A of the Local Government Act 1993. I have a motion, please. Councillor Hayden, as per the recommendation? Yes. Seconder, please. Councillor Tucker, Councillor Hayden.
Yes, I've had a look at this. There was some concern earlier about, if it was similar to one of the past DAs that we had to refuse, but I don't see that that is having much impact at all. It's only a couple of odd metres there out from the house, and I'm happy with that. No problem. Thank you.
Councillor Tucker.
Nothing to add, Mr Mayor.
Further discussion? If not, I put the motion, but for the recommendation, all in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We go to 14, reports for information. 14.1, monthly activity report, General Manager, June 2025. The recommendation is that report item 14.1 is received as information. Of a motion, please. Councillor Hayden, as per the recommendation. Seconder, please. Councillor Trembar, Councillor Hayden.
Yeah, I'm happy to move the recommendation to accept the report as provided. I did have a couple of questions for the General Manager. It's just around staffing, and it kind of relates to some of our budgetary requirements as well. And going through our IP&R documents, I noticed some staffing and how many staff actually work in the council building here. So is that figure 40 or 45 that work currently in indoor staff, basically?
I'm having to take it on notice, but it's around the 40, yes.
Yes. So do you feel that that's an exceptionally large amount of internal staff for such a small council like ours?
Because through the chair, we're constantly chasing our tails in trying to provide the day-to-day requirements of what's expected under the Local Government Act.
So my reason is behind that, because as you know, we've had an 8.5 million in staffing wages and everything, and it's exceptionally high for a small council like ours. When we have such a big LGA, that the bulk of our staff should be actually on the ground external outside. So I'm just wondering if there's something that the General Manager may be able to look at down the track and look at staff multitasking, cutting, how we could reshuffle and reshape from staff internally inside the building, because when we talk to other councils our size, they certainly don't have that amount of internal staff as we do. So it's just something that I was hoping that as a council we could have that conversation down the track, that you could look at a structure that may be more cost effective, because it is actually a large amount of money and a large amount of internal staff compared to the workforce that's on the ground to get the work done. So that was just something that I wanted to mention. There was another issue here. The meeting with Transport New South Wales, was there a decision that came out of that meeting in relation to that bridge across the Fish River?
No.
There was no outcome.
No. The Transport New South Wales has provided design, and they're still looking to fund it. And we were given the opportunity to have some detailed conversations with them about the bridge, the footpath project that we talked about earlier, and general RMS transport from New South Wales.
So will they be doing any safety data on that particular roadway and bridgeway due to the amount of heavy freight traffic we have?
Through the chair, they're doing quite a bit of work in that regard.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing to.
Nothing.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just one question for the chair, if I may. On page 350, right down near the bottom, 5th of June, on-site meeting with Hughes 3 Industrial Subdivision I'm just wondering what's happening with that work. Anytime I've been past there doesn't seem to be any activity that I've noticed, and just wondering when will work resume and when do we expect it to be finished? And do we still expect it to be completed within the extra money that we provided?
Through the chair, the on-site meeting was to see when they were coming back. We undertook an agreed step down or sit down to give what they've done time to settle and come back, and they're looking to come back either this week or next week. To be honest, it's that quick.
All right, any idea when they're completed?
My understanding is that they need another between 6 and 8 weeks on site.
Oh, the meeting was nothing at all to do with funding, and so we're still on stack funding.
It's still expected to be in accordance with what
the extra that
the funding that we've been allocated.
Thank you. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Further? If not, I put the motion, all in favour? Thank you. We move to 14.2. Monthly activity report, planning and development, June 2025. Recommendation to put item 14.2 to received information. Move motion, please. Hayden, as to the recommendation.
Yeah.
Seconded, Councillor Everest, thank you. Councillor Hayden.
Yes, I'm happy to move the recommendation to accept the report. Thank Damien in his team for the work going into here. Just wanted to mention New South Wales Building Commissioner. So council staff managed to have a meeting with James Sherrod, did they?
The chair, that's correct, yes.
Yep. That's really good. I have put some information on my councillor Facebook page because Mr. Sherrod had shared some links. I'm just wondering if it's possible if our council could put the links to the dodgy builders, etc., that they've got up on their building commission page. If we can share some of their links on our council page, because it's actually pretty handy for any of our owner builders or builders who actually go into that web page and actually have a look and see what is listed there, because people are getting stung everywhere. So thank you for that. And just in regards to the compliance you've got listed here, is this in relation to something that has occurred or keeps occurring?
Through the chair, there's ongoing matters that have either occurred or they're ongoing.
And that's with the stock control and that kind of thing. And the only other question I'd like to ask the planning director is, has there been any work done on an updated policy with the gym?
Through the chair, that is still underway.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to ask the director, the planning portal update. Do you have any feel as to how more user friendly this upgrade being undertaken by the Department of Planning, Housing and Infrastructure will make the planning portal? Are there going to be significant changes, or are they just going to tinker around the edges? And do you have any feels, as I said, how much more user friendly it will make it for people actually using, including your staff?
Through the chair, there where I mentioned the update on the 30th of May, they removed some of the non-mandatory questions relating to development applications. That's just 39 possible inputs. They're actually going to be upwards of 200 inputs. So they've got more improvements or more taking more non-mandatory requirements away out of the application form to make it easier for lay people to lodge applications, not having to require. So that certainly will be a assistance, and also they've got that. You can click on the little icon on through the portal and you can get answers to questions to assist them, to assist applicants. So I think what they're proposing will certainly improve both for council staff, but also for the general public in lodging applications going forward. And as mentioned, this is information I've put in there through the chair again, did come directly from the department, and also the small to medium council working party that I sit on for council, that this information is available and they are moving in a better direction.
I make an observation, it's purely an observation, because there has been a number of stock on and dogs actually on roads near me. And I know that dogs are meant to be chipped, etc., which I fully support. But recently, a number of the properties around me, we put our lamb ear tags onto the collar of a dog, so that if a dog is straying on the road and you pick it up and you can see immediately it's Kiltrummy or Bunnamagoo or what, we know where to return it. Doesn't mean it has to come to the council. The same with our stock. We all have we know what our relevant ear marks are. If we don't have a reader, we can sometimes have our reader for the cattle, and we'll be able to with the sheep. But visible signs like that have often increased the efficiency without having to call a council officer out. So I don't know whether we should be suggesting that may assist, especially in those rural situations. I picked up a dog the other day. It had a tag around the collar, which was a sheep tag collar. Meant we knew that it was returned. It saves a lot of time and effort, and saves a lot of time and effort for our ranger.
And we lack the revenue from that fine now.
Yes, but we also don't have the time to spend a person out there. Anyway, it's just an observation I'm making. Might look quite happy to talk again offline about it. I don't make that. Any further discussion on this? If not, I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? 14.3, monthly activity report, technical services, June 2025. Recommendation for 14.3 is received information. Move it, please. Thank you. Councillor O'Connor, as per the recommendation.
Yes, I'll answer first.
Yes, that's right. Seconded, Councillor Hayes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to congratulate services for the work done on the Mayfield and other Poppy Roads, tree pruning on overhanging trees and cleaning up the roadside. And as Adam Mercer spoke, a local resident, about the issues we've got with the roads, you've done a great job there. And it's particularly on the Mayfield Road, given it's got 80,000 odd people visiting. It looks spectacular. Now, just through you, Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to get a brief update from the director regarding the weighbridge at the church.
Yes, true.
Through the chair, the electrical contractor is coming on site on Thursday, Friday. A statement will also be on site to ensure that the conduits are going in the right place according to the drawing. We mark out then where the slabs of the concrete are needing to go. To make sure that, again, according to the drawing, when the concrete comes on site, we to put that in the right place. There was some delays with the concreting, so that will the preparation for that will occur over the weekend, pouring early next week. Newwell still intends to be on site on the 23rd to use the hydraulic jacks on the deck to put the loud sails in place and calibrate those. Gatehouse cannot be put on the slab until the slab is poured and has cured sufficiently, which is expected to happen on the 30th of June. So it's running very close, and we'll need to get back together in EMT and assess can it be done on time, and if not, what's the plan B for the fees and charges for next financial year if we can't weigh anything on the 1st of July.
So no, any hiccups, just weather affected work.
And we assume it's still being brought in within budget. Hopefully we'll have some savings. Councillor Hayes.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Thank the Technical Services Director for this report. There's a couple of issues, and I haven't had time to actually send you an email, but there's some serious issues with the drainage on Mozart Road. So I did have to telephone the general manager after those drains were actually installed and get some signage put up out there, because they're like driving over a massive big speed hump. And traffic on that road does travel at between 80 and 100 kilometres an hour. And should they have hit that without any warning sign, there could have actually been a death. I travel on that when I go over to work, and it's now all fallen apart quite bad. There are potholes everywhere, so the section that was all redone to have those pipes installed, they're not flush with the road, so they're raised, and they've now got pitting and potholes everywhere. And it just looks like it's half done, no offence, it looks half done and not completed, because it's just sitting there and now all just washing away. So I'm just wondering what's going to be happening, and is that going to be rectified and taken back to a smooth surface again? And I know that they've dug up around the culverts, dug out the culverts, but of course now all the water from the paddock, because the culverts are deeper than the runoff was in the beginning, so now the paddocks are all running into the culvert side, and it's just becoming a little dam on each side of the road.
Through the chair, I'll take it on and assess it.
Yeah, if you could, even if you do a little drive out there one day and have a look, because it's really, really bad.
Okay,
Sorry, just through the chair, are you talking about the sealed or unsealed section on Thousand Car?
It's on the unsealed section, it's on the dirt section of the road on the eastern side, where the drainage has been put across the roadway.
as per the photo.
Yes. Well, I can't confirm where that photo was taken. The top photo could be it. It may not be, or it may, but it doesn't look like that anymore. And just another query as well. There's been some ongoing email complaints that I keep getting, not email complaints, messenger complaints regarding Chatham Valley Road and the deterioration of it. And it's getting quite dangerous. And I do recall that that road actually did have some work done to it a while back. Chatham Valley.
Councillor McCarthy?
Yeah, Mr Mayor, last Tuesday night when I got home, I had a call from Samanis. They live out at Geelong. And in the last 34 years, this is the first time they've not been able to get home in two-wheel drive. I think when we have a works meeting next time that we need to go out and have a look and maybe seal some of the section under the environmental plan or whatever was done, like Mount Olive Road was done. There's an example that road used to be terrible. Now it's great. But when Samanis have to get out there and pull cars up and down the road over a long weekend, we need to actually address that.
I don't think there's any money left under the environmentally
It
disaffected
mightn't be,
roads.
but we just
Can't
can't have,
find money somewhere else. Okay.
but we just can't have ratepayers pulling cars up and down a road that's traversable.
Point to be noted, I think the director will take it on notice.
There was a number of competing factors that led to that. It was
Yes, I understand that.
It's undertaking grading, and it rained and it snowed and a lot of vehicles.
Yep.
We did ignore, like,
Yep.
that was noted as a something that we need to come back to. It was just too wet to do it at the time.
Yeah, I understand that. Where Scott's main range is, that it's fairly steep there, and I think Steele's the only answer.
Okay, councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Well, firstly, just following on from that, even if the environmentally affected roads money is finished, I think there's a reasonable amount in the next year for gravel reshedding, so that might be a possibility, even if we don't seal it, but at least get a decent base on there. The main thing I want to mention, not really a question, but the direction can comment if she wants to, but just pointing out on page 362, just below the photo, it mentions that we transported e-waste to parks because that service is no longer provided by Net Waste. So I assume that means an extra cost that we are going to have to bear in the future that we haven't had to up until now. Even though it wouldn't be all that frequent, I'd imagine it'd take quite a long time to build up a truckload of e-waste, but still, it is something that our waste working party will need to look at when we look at all our recycling arrangements. And that's all I wanted to mention, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anything further? Right, I put the motion as per the recommendation, but report 14.3 is received information. All in favour? Carried unanimously. 8.4, monthly activity report, corporate services June 2025. Recommendation is report item 14.4 is received information. Have a motion, please. Councillor Hayden. Second, please. Councillor Packer. Thank you, Councillor Hayden.
Yeah, I won't be speaking.
So is that first motion?
No,
Motion as per the recommendation?
yes, please. I just wanted to ask Corporate Services Director,
Sorry, can I get it? I've got a second. Right, back to you. Sorry. Sorry.
just in regards to, some of the activities that are occurring out in Burriga and Black Springs around the, portable library stuff. I just feel if these portable libraries are going to be in these situations, I think council need to start looking at, dealing with them instead of expecting other members of the public to have to be on call to open doors and have people access specific things. And there's even concern with one of the public libraries at the Burriga Sport and Rec Club. So it's okay to put these little portable libraries out there, but who's going to be responsible for any damage to the books or any of that stuff? Who's going to be liable if a kid gets hold of it and it's ripped to shreds or it goes missing? And I feel like, yes, these are great suggestions and great ideas, with the outreach hub, whoever's going out and doing their stuff out at these communities. But we've got to be extremely mindful and stop passing it on to someone else as their problem, because Michelle Swan at Black Springs has her own stuff to do. She can't be running and jumping and going to open the door at the Black Springs Hall because someone might want to go and get a book. It's not fair. And it's the same as the Burriga Sport and Rec Club. That's a public venue. People go there, kids go there, people get they get drunk, damage happens to these library books or so on. Like, there has to be a responsibility factor for the council to deal with that, or whoever is providing that service, so that these people that are there don't feel like they have to jump up and down and go like bang. Or if IPNR is being done at the Burriga District Community Association, because I spoke to Michelle out at Burriga today about this, that council asked her to try and organise for more people to go down to the BDCA meeting, because the mayor's going to be doing IPNR, the IPNR, speak about the IPNR documents. It's not the Burriga Sports Club manager's role to chase community members. And the Burriga Sport and Rec Club is a business. So they need to focus on their things. So just be mindful that sometimes when you ask these people in these areas to do something, they're taking on more than they need to take on. They don't have to, but they feel obligated. And it basically, it's another thing that's upsetting. Like upsetting what they're doing in their day-to-day role. So BDCA has nothing to do with the sports club, and the sports club has nothing to do with the BDCA. So I just wanted to get some clarity around that. And it's like having the health hub and having things like that go to these, a public club. That's all well and great. Public clubs do that all the time. But it's putting all of this onus on the individuals that are running these clubs instead of the people running the programs. And there's things I just want these places to clarify and get clarified, because I said to Michelle, I said, why has Black Springs Community Hall got a library in it? Why? No one goes there. It's not open. How do they access a book? She goes, oh, well, I suppose they're going to have to ring me. That's so unfair. So they're just a couple of little things, if you can just keep in the back of your mind, because it's unfair to pass that on, because we all always talk about cost shifting in local government, how the state government's always cost shifting to us. We don't need to be cost shifting to someone else, if that makes sense. But thanks for your report, mate.
If I can make an observation, obviously, you know, we also have to be aware of what things cost. If it's going to cost us more money, it may not be overcosting the service. I mean, you've already commented on the staffing, so we're trying to provide a service which we think is a good service, you know, will be appeal to some people, but going to require a full-time person to be out there manning that library or opening it up and closing it, that would probably make it cost prohibitive. So there's two sides to the story.
Through the chair, this is part of the new community outreach model. So there's obviously other parts of that outside of library books, but it's a model that's being trialled. There's obvious components with Black Springs Hall where there is an MOU with the Community Association, which is being reviewed at the moment. For IPNR, we would have been contacting all sort of folks within those communities to help us spread the message that these presentations are happening. But if those Michelle or both of Michelle's are feeling a burden of that, they're very happy to let me know, and I can see where we can resource these things otherwise. But I note the comments and we'll be aware of it for sure.
Well, I get what you're saying, but that's where I brought up previously about the IPNR presentations. We need to go back to the old school way of doing it and not rely on a councillor or someone in a committee to do it, because it feels like our communication focus has been cut, like many of our services to our community, and we're shortcutting, and we need to start being there for the community and showing up.
But the councillor is there, they're presenting, but quite happy to do it Burrick or wherever. Saves costs, saves sending a staff member out there. I see no problem about it.
But the community want to see the staff so they can ask the staff the question. Communities do. That's part of your service as a council. That's all.
Well, obviously the Black Springs call, the Black Springs meeting was cancelled on the Monday, but I did Burrigo. I answered a number of questions.
How many people did you have?
Not a lot.
4?
Probably 6, 7, yeah. But what do you think? Staff members are going to bring more people? I don't know. Anyway, I'll put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Oh, sorry, I didn't see it. Councillor McCarthy. Sorry.
I second it,
You see.
and I have nothing to add.
Nothing, but sorry. Couldn't bend through it.
Just to the director, did we ever find out the running cost of running the sewer treatment plant at Weddenshire?
I have sent an update note to the mayor, asking him if he could get on it, please. Also, it's been outstanding since November. Sorry?
And staff have also sent
Notes to the operators.
yeah, messages to the operators.
We were promised it, but the
mayor's used the political format, we've used the staff format.
So originally, the general manager told me she would go back to Gary with it when I raised it with her and the mayor. I've gone back to the mayor because the general manager's gone to Snowy Mountains. And we have been waiting, and we were also assured we'd get it out of the new director of finance down there. But as you recall, the director of finance didn't last very long. He came back and he's now on our ARIC. So we haven't got the information. No question, no.
But through the chair, the project manager has indicated that he's sourcing some others for like operators for the private facility that we're looking at. So we are certainly part of the ongoing.
Just that when Councillor Pentlaff and Councillor Graham was talking, went to there. I asked one of the other councillors and he said it was bloody expensive.
Yeah, that's what we know that. That's why I raised it in November, because I heard that from someone at Wetton. So that's why we were pursuing that now. Yeah, the general manager told me.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
And the mayor. All right. So we are pursuing that in a number of ways. And you would have seen my original email was attached to the response to Councillor O'Connor.
I thought in our STP thing, we're budgeting the same costs where that's not the way it is it?
Well, we don't know that. They operated their original sewage treatment plant differently to the one, how we operate this. We have more staff than they had under their original. And we believe that some of it is, the monitoring system keeps going off, and that shouldn't occur, we understand from other experiences. So we're investigating that further too, because we believe there might be issues that Wetton have had that other councils that have got a similar situation have not had.
Okay, thank you.
So we are looking, yeah, there's a number of scenarios there. We're going right through it. Thank you. So 14.4, is there any further discussion? If not, I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Thank you. We have 14.5.
Mr. Mayor, is that a good spot for a quick break?
I was thinking of 8:30, but if you want to stop.
Well, there's a few information items and then the confidential. So,
I'll second council.
I'm happy to have a break now. We'll call a break at 14.5. Thank you. I realise that some of our councillors are also not in the best health. So I think that's it. Commencing at 8:15. On item 14.5, investments, May 2025. Okay with the recording?
Yes, then I can.
Your recommendation is that report item 14.5 is received as information. Have a motion, please. Councillor Leveris, Councillor McCarthy. Thank you. Councillor Leveris.
Looks fine to me. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other discussion? All right, I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 14.6. Grants update 2025. The recommendation is that item 14.6 is received information. Of a motion, please. Councillor O'Connor, second, please. Councillor Hayden, thank you. Councillor O'Connor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the report, and just got one question regarding grants. And this might be a little bit, I think it's in line. There was a report in the newspaper, I think it was the Daily Telegraph, saying that we're now 5th on the list as far as legal fees concerning matters within council, between councillors, code of conduct issues. That's we're 5th.
But does that have something to do with grants?
It does. The question is, to the director, do you think that sort of record will have any impact on future grant funding?
Through the chair, I've not seen any applications or anything that would venture into a track record evaluation based on that. Potentially council cohesion decision making. But on that topic, I did do some investigations into those numbers, and I have no idea where those numbers have come from. They're very different to anything I've seen.
I guess the reason I asked is that Minister Andrew G, he did say to me, that the councils who are getting grant funding are the ones that are working together well. And as soon as I read that, the first thing I thought was, hopefully that doesn't impact on us.
Yep. We're not sure where the figure, how they derived the figure that's being investigated. Yeah, last one else. Councillor Hayden.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was going to pop my hand up if you couldn't remember. In a second. It's all good. Yeah, I'm disappointed once again to see this, not disappointed because of staff's put it together, but disappointed because this is the focus of Labor government, but in both tiers, like in federal and state. We don't have political councils, and it might clarify some issues with Councillor O'Connor's concern. You'll find that councils that are getting the grants are mainly councils in coastal Sydney or Wollongong council areas. And they're getting more grant funding, and they're also politically driven councils. So they have a lot of Labor councillors. We've got a Labor mayor in Lithgow with Cass Coleman. Sometimes the way to get some better access to grants is to be proactive in your rural regional summits, in all your conferences, in national summits, state summits, and showing up as an attendee and having attendance where you can network with ministers all of the time. You do get to be heard a little bit more than if you don't attend conferences and be out there mingling with ministers and actually having discussions. And councillors themselves can also write letters to ministers requesting that we need more financial assistance and lobby these ministers in both state and federal government to come to the party with helping us get better access to grants. Andrew G's statement that, councils have to be well behaved to get grant funding. We can name a couple of councils in this state that are pretty woeful and have a woeful record, but still get substantial amounts of grants. So I'm disappointed once again because out of this, the only grant funds that we've actually been given is through to the traineeship and apprenticeship section. All the others that I've read, unsuccessful, 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 and that's going to be the direction of this council for this entire term. While ever we've got a Labor government, this is what will happen. They aren't proactively going to be funding councils, especially rural regional councils. We're just the other side of that iron curtain or sandstone curtain, as you call it, and that is where we are, and that's why we've got to be noisy and advocate and jump up and down and say, why isn't it a fair service for all, and why aren't we getting fair grant access like our Sydney counterparts and metropolitan counterparts? And that's a really sad thing. And it's nothing to do with the staff, it's nothing to do with the councillors here, but we've all got to be proactively requesting ministers whenever we get a given opportunity, or send off an email and say, hey, you know, we've got, let's say, the sewage treatment plant needs some bulk funding. Why can't you guys come to the party and help us out, because you've helped out other councils and we need you to start helping us. And that's part of our role as councillors, is to advocate for all of these different things. So we advocated, we got Jenny Aitchison here, we got heard, we got listened to. And I am disappointed every time I have a look at the grant status updates, because it's just appalling. But we're not alone in that. All the rural councils pop in saying. Thank you.
Councillor Hadge. Any further discussion on this matter? Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one question, if I may. Page 376, bottom of the page, the last item. Allgood Road, culverts, 1.1 million, pending, no notification period provided. The reason what I'm asking is, that's a project that I asked about at the briefing session last week. And my recollection of the answer then was that, yes, we've got approval for funding and it was all going ahead. That was my understanding last week. Or are we talking about two different things?
Through the chair, the funding I was talking about was the natural disaster funding that we got.
Which is for that same project?
A part of that project, yes.
Part of it.
Yes.
So we haven't got all the money we need to complete that project.
Not yet.
Right. Okay. All right, I didn't understand that in more detail last week. Thank you for that clarification. That's all I have, Mr. Leader.
Thank you. Anything further? Not, I put the motion as per the recommendation. Report item 14.6 is received information. All in favour? Thank you. Carried unanimously. 14.7 status update. Recommendation is report 14.7 is received information. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Hayden, seconder, please. Councillor O'Connor. Thank you, Councillor Hayden.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm not going to harp on with this, but there is one issue on here that I do want some clarification on, because it's been ongoing since 2023. Residential land development in those 13 blocks that were meant to be getting subdivided and done, and we've got a lot of status updates here that's noted, design specs, no further progress on infrastructure funds, tender documents currently being prepared to be exhibited in March 23, current opportunities being reconsidered for further options for construction, report to May 23 meeting, DA being prepared for council consideration, Australian Housing Bill, which, you know, got nothing out of that, scope finalised in October, will be uploaded to the portal in December. That was October 23. 14th of February 24, council undertaking an assessment of the requirements for the Housing Australia grant funding. 15th of 5th, 24, opportunities have potentially arisen from the federal budget and will look to progress. 10th of July 24, new grant opportunities have presented and looking at options to best fit council needs. 9th of October 24, a number of grant opportunities have presented looking at options to best fit council needs. 8th of November 24, development application developed in preparation for an assessment process. 12th of 2nd, 25, development application lodged. 13th of the 3rd, further information required as part of the application process, overland stormwater flows, etc. 10th of the 4th, awaiting quote to align with current allocation. And 15th of the 5th, housing stock provided to Department of Premier's Cabinet, blah, blah, blah. I'm just wondering if we can somehow get this big white elephant off this status report and just get that subdivision subdivided. Is that happening? Because as you note, in 23, DA been applied and now it's 25 and it's the same thing, development application lodged, but it was also lodged back here. So what's happening with that?
So through the chair, there was a number of opportunities that arose during that time that we tried to have this development funded through some other mechanism than council paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we've gone down that path, it's been unsuccessful, which you're well and truly aware of, as we all are. The latest update was that the Department of Premiers asked us to supply that housing stock to them because they wanted to see where regional councils, rural councils are missing out on this funding when everyone's talking about housing stocks and trying to help fund that. So we haven't done any work on it. Firstly, there's no money being allocated for us to do it within our own budget.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sitting there awaiting funding. So if council want to make that decision to get it built, council have the ability to do that. But until such times as the resolution says here's $20,000 and all this work's been done in-house by us, in order to get that funded, it's going to be substantial amounts of cost to council to do that.
Are you able to provide a report to us how much getting that subdivision done for the 13 blocks will cost the council? If you could, and it doesn't have to be at a meeting, it can just send out to councillors and tell us how much that's going to cost, because we're not really going to qualify for a multitude of different grants that are out there, because after being involved with the Housing Accord Roundtable, they stated if you do have blocks and you do want to do this, you have to work in with one of the housing providers under the state that can then assist and do other things. And it's something that's we won't qualify for doing that either. So I'm just wondering whether we start looking at how much it is going to cost And if you can provide that to councillors, that way we'll know how much we've got to look at down the track, if that's okay, please.
Happy to go back down that rabbit warren.
Thank you. Nothing further.
I would rather,
Councillor McCarthy.
after what we've been through and all the reports we've got on some of the other development, I would rather see the land put up for expression of interest. Because we worked over here and come back to Horners for 300,000. So I think the council should look at putting it up, expression of interest for someone to develop it. You've already got an approved plan. So anyway.
Well, maybe that,
I'll look at both those.
I think the general manager's going to look at that as well. Councillor.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just in reference to item 17, roadside weed spray. It's further to community member Adam Mercer, who made the motion. I've got a few questions through you, Mr Mayor, to the general manager. At the meeting in February, it was decided that we'd investigate for the 25-26 period, issuing a request for tender to potential contractors to undertake work directly for council on roadsides. And then on the receipt of tenders, we'd provide a report to council. That time's coming up now, and we're coming short, and the tender, it can be very brief. I've got a copy of the tender here if you'd like to have a look at it. It's very important to get on top of this issue. We've got community members now talking about it. And it's one, when I presented in February, I quoted some figures, local contractors, $250 a kilometre, the CTWA using or charging us $14 a kilometre. And if you look on the New England Leeds Council, their quote is over $200 a kilometre, so it's pretty well on the money. Our local contractors who told me the figures are pretty, so there's a significant cost saving and hopefully a lot better job. And I'd just like to know when we'll be going out to tender.
So through the chair, we were simply waiting for the IP&R docs to get finalised, so we've got a provision that goes down that path.
So you've got
a monetary value to go down that path.
And as I understand, you've got all the material you need from CTWA, you've got the map, you've got the roads, you've got
We now have that, yeah, that's taken some time to exercise. But what this may enable us to do is work back towards getting our program over 3 years or going down that path. I must admit, I'm not a weeds expert when we look at these types of things, and there'll be a reliance on some other expertise to in fact chase it up to make sure that we're not missing anything.
So, and the issue of whether a second vehicle has to be used is a matter of sort of contention, as you know.
So there won't be any further work contracts with CTWA until such time as tenders go out.
They'll be asked for an expression of interest, they'll be asked for a tender at the same time.
That's right.
Yes, they'll be.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It's not expected to be a tender.
No.
The funds wouldn't allow it like that threshold of the tender. So
Expression of interest.
Expression of interest, quotation.
Quotes, yeah.
Request for quotation. Yes.
I mean, the beauty we've got is because of our LGA, you know, for a contractor, I think it's such a good area to contract to because it's not like they're having to travel 80, 100 kilometres.
No, there are a few other, there's a MOU with CTWA that forestry has as well.
Yeah.
And we've in fact, I've got to follow up, I've Jason, the way I have to chase up with Claire what's happening in relation to that, the issue of putting further funding towards that.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, through. So we've got a date roughly the next couple of weeks or.
I'll be looking to finalise it as soon as the IP&R docs get.
Okay.
I did ask the gentleman the same question about it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, further discussion? On any of the status issues? Those a question I have to frame it. Have we had any? Have you had any notifications in relation to possible meetings with ministers re the sewage treatment plant?
Through the chair, I've forwarded a number of requests through to the local member. We have met with the water minister, and we've also talked to ministers that we have relationships with to try and push this, but at this point in time, there hasn't been there's only been a call with their local member about possible outcomes.
Well, I did have, as you know, a discussion with Minister Atchison, and she did note it. She will go try and investigate it further with the. Okay. If nothing further, then I will put 14.6. 14.7, sorry. Motion, 14.7 is received information. All in favour? Carried unanimously. 14.8, questions taken on notice at the previous meeting. Recommendations report 14.8 receives information, the responses noted. Could I have a recommendation, please? Councillor Hayden, second. Councillor Tucker, thank you. Councillor Hayden.
Yes, thank the General Manager for the questions taken on notice response that he gave to Robin Wiseman. I did actually provide Robin Wiseman with a broad answer to her question of that night. Some of it, as it was worded, didn't come across in the council meeting in a clear manner, how she wanted to basically put it across. And the response from the General Manager's fair, but UN, WEC, WHO, they all have an impact into local government, not directly, but indirectly. So I then explained to her in all the layers, in all the different areas of government, from federal to state to local government, how any UN type decisions around climate change or any kind of discrimination and things like that, how we take that on supplementary style, not as part of Office of Local Government policy. It's not written in there, but it is something that, as we talk about renewable energies and we talk about climate changes and things like that, they're all things that come directly from the United Nations, and they're the only ways that it impacts councils. So that's how I had reiterated it to her, and she was pretty grateful. It was a couple of pages long, but it explained everything she needed. But thank you for what you had provided there.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this matter? If not, I put the motion that report 14.8 has received information. The response is noted. All in favour? Carried unanimously. 14.9, financial assistance grant prepayment update. Recommendation, the report 14.9 is received as information. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Trembath, was it? Oh, sorry. Councillor Tucker, thank you. Councillor Trembath.
I don't really have anything to add to it. I'll move it. Those explained it very well. Noted.
Councillor Tucker.
Likewise, Mr Mayor, I appreciated the report, very clear, and yeah, all I have to say.
Was something I asked, but because I thought it's a major issue that's going to impact our accounts, so it needs to be known. It's occurred since our last QBRS, major issue that we all need to be aware of, because it's a major change in what our financial budgeting was projecting. Councillor Hay.
Yeah, thanks for that. I'm disappointed with the government's bag screen. Once again, councils are being left in the lurch. As we all know, that final payment's not coming this financial year and might not come till later next financial year, the last quarterly payment. And they just need to up their game and start giving councils adequate amount of money so that we can actually be a little bit more financially sustainable. I just want to put that out there because we can get reports and Zoe can explain stuff till the cows come home, but until state government, federal government start actually giving us 1% and not 0.49 or 0.51 of a percent, we're all going to keep suffering. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this matter? If not, sorry. Councillor.
Quick question, it's a significant change.
Hmm.
Significant, there'll be, one for Matt to explain in the financials. But it says here, still fully expects to receive its full.
In the next financial year.
Yeah. Is there uncertainty or?
Through the chair, still uncertainty as to when we'll actually receive that payment in the next financial year. Could be very early. We're hoping so. I do understand from some other councils that we were on a call about this the other day, that they are significantly needing that cash flow. We've sort of done some internal adjustments on our investment cycle to just ensure that we're cash ready for that time. But it is a difficult shift, and it will be reflected in the financial statements we're working on at the moment, which, you know, council will start to see in about September, October, and you'll definitely see where that prepayment, even if it's a day, has fallen to the next FY, will have a big impact on those financial statements. But just to be very clear, that it doesn't impact any of the budget that's currently for next year, and it relates to fewer timing issues.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're not the, as it's been said, we're not the only council being affected by this.
What,
Yes,
what's the amount actually that, you know, of that individual payment?
it's roughly 6 million, isn't it? 6 million.
Through the chair, it's about 3.2 million. So
Yeah,
it's significant. That can be 85-90% of that payment, which is it's our biggest operating grant by a mile. So it's
So the federal budget will be enhanced and local councils will be the detriment of local councils.
We're banking. We're the banker for the federal government. Yes. Okay, any further discussion? If not, I put the motion as for the recommendation. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 14.10, waste working party report. The recommendation is the report item 14.10 is received as information. I have a motion, please. Councillor Hayden. Councillor Tucker, thank you.
Yes,
Councillor Hayden.
yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Happy to receive a report for information from Referee Technical Services to providing this. This is basically just some meeting minutes and so on with Talisman who basically it's nothing great there, like nothing fantastic that you have to sit there and read through, but yeah. Is good news.
Thank you. Councillor Tucker.
We can hardly wait for our next meeting.
So I note that TALIS report's not back till January 26. Is that correct?
For the chair, that was the original timeline to have the waste strategy developed by them. If we deliver, you know, our buy things like that on time, and if there's no last call for knowledge.
And that was the time agreed by the working groups that we could do it by. Okay.
For the chair, that was the request in our brief that we put out, and they complied with that in that when they put and
Okay.
and yes, we discussed it at the West Guilty Party again.
All right. Anything further? If not, I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Thank you. Carried unanimously. 14.11 working party report. The recommendation is report is that item 14.11 is received as information. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Hayden, second, please. Councillor McCarthy. Thanks, Councillor Hayden.
Yeah, really cool, isn't it? Having two working party reports, one after the other.
One for waste, isn't it?
Yeah, Oh, sorry, yeah, Waste Working Party, Works Working Party, sorry. Forgive me, being sick. Yeah, so, we didn't get to talk about point 3 in here, in this summary. In terms of reference and the Morrison Low stuff, we didn't talk about that at the Works Working Party, did we?
We absolutely did.
Yeah, and
I
we've got a
thought-
more
I thought
detailed
that was
discussion
very-
at the next working
Yeah,
party.
yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was getting carried over to the next thing.
Well, we discussed how we should approach it.
Well, at least one good thing that came out of the Works Working Party meeting that day was that the footpath got pegged in the right spot. Very well done. That's what I have to say.
Thank you, councillor Tucker. Who seconded? Councillor McCarthy, was it?
Yeah, just with the, path, when do we anticipate it'll be complete?
Chair, I provided a bit of a next step update in the status report, which I cannot recall currently, sorry. But it included taking it out and ensuring the grade is okay through a survey, and then testing for asbestos again along the new path, still removing the other asbestos from the bottom end, and then seeking quotes. And when we seek the quotes, we know can it be done within the budget, or do we need to allocate anything else to finalise it? I can't give you a timeline on that, sorry. Just the next steps.
Okay. Thank you.
Further discussion on 14.11? If not, I'll put the motion as per the recommendation that report item 14.11 is received with information. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 15 is urgent business. I note there is no urgent business. 16 is closed session confidential reports. In accordance with the Local Government Act 1993 and the Local Government General Regulations 2005, the opinion of the General Manager, the following business of a kind is referred to in section 10A2 of the Act, which will be dealt with as part of the meeting close to the media and public. 16.1, legal and consultancy fees. 16.2, water write-off request, assessment 12395514. Item 16.3, entering into contracts to supply and delivery of bulk fuel. Item 16.4, electricity procurement, Central New South Wales joint organisation. Could I have someone to move us into closed session confidential, please? Councillor McCarthy, Councillor Tucker. All in favour that we move into closed session confidential? Thank you. Unanimously. Could we cease recording, please? During the confidential section, report 16.1 on legal and consultancy fees. Moved by councillor Hayden, seconded by councillor O'Connor. Report item 16.1 is received as information. Item 16.2, water write-off request, assessment 12395514. Moved by councillor Tucker, seconded by councillor Trembath, that council do not write off water consumption charges for assessment 12395514 and instead offer a payment plan arrangement to support full debt recovery. 16.3, entering into contracts for supply and delivery of bulk fuel. The motion passed with the council accept and sign a contract with the following organisations for the supply and delivery of bulk fuel: Castellan Proprietary Limited Trading as Inland Petroleum, Oswin Energy Proprietary Limited Trading as Lowe's Petroleum Services, and Petro National Proprietary Limited Trading as Gulls Plus, and advised the Central New South Wales joint organisation of its decision. That was moved by councillor McCarthy and seconded by councillor Tucker. 16.4, electricity procurement, Central New South Wales joint organisation. The motion was moved by councillor Leveris and seconded by councillor Trembath as follows: that council note the confidential report on council electricity procurement. I note that this meeting, the meeting is closed, will close at 9:20 p.m. and that the next ordinary meeting of Oberon Council will be held on Tuesday, the 15th July 2025, commencing at 5:30 p.m. in the Oberon Council Chambers here at 137 Oberon Street, Oberon. I thank everyone for their attendance and for those members of the public who have been online or in the gallery. Thank you, everyone.
You ask Katie, does she want that?